What is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
All right, what is it? Friday night? I kept thinking it was Monday all day. I don't know what the hell's going on with my brain. But it's Friday night. That means it's the Friday Night Radio Baloney Live. I am your host, Richie Baloney. How's everybody doing? Looks like we got Mickey out there. We got Izzy. How you guys doing? Izzy got number one. He got the first like of the stream. As everybody knows, we're streaming on Rumble, on YouTube, on X, and on Locals. And of course you get good karma for every like. Of course you do. You don't even have to think about that. You're going to get that good karma. You like the stream and obviously subscribe, all of that. You're going to get your good karma. What you may not know is that if you get the first like on any of these platforms, you get, it might be double, it might be triple, it might be quadruple, it might be quintuple good karma. You have no idea. I don't even know before we do this. I'm going entirely on feel here. So is he like number one? Let's just go ahead and quintuple good karma. That's 5 times. 5 times. I think you can sleep peacefully tonight, my friend. Let's see. Mickey got number 2. So number 2 would then be quadruple good karma. Got that on Rumble, but also, hold on, also on YouTube. That means double that. That means octuple good karma. Wow. Good times ahead. Blue skies. All right. So where's everybody else in the chat? Normally it's already packed. What the hell's going on? Must be something happening. Let's see. Mickey's saying conundrum today, Canucks game. Hockey game tonight. Well, I guess hockey's starting up again. I wonder how much that's going to affect these streams over the fall. I don't know. Whatevs. Do what you need. Do what you need to do. Mickey says that needs to win the lottery. Needs to win the lottery. Don't we all? All right. Trudeau Survivor, good to see ya. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says, I had a dilemma once. Do I rescue a school bus full of children or do I rescue my super hot girlfriend who happens to be my cousin? Cousin? What? R.I.P. school bus. Applause, I guess. Man, oh man, it's a freaking zoo in here. Dramus, how you doing? Good to see ya. Danny, how you doing? Says, good evening, everyone. Hope you have a wonderful weekend and Friday. I keep thinking it's Monday. What happened? I didn't get hit in the head or anything. I mean, suddenly my brain doesn't do days properly anymore. I don't know what's happening. Maybe I should have some caffeine. Hold on. Well, that was nice. All right. So let's go through the menu. What are we talking about tonight? We got quite a lot on the menu. So let's go through. What are we talking about? We got Kash Patel. FBI is cutting ties with the Southern Poverty Law Center, the ADL. They never should have had anything to do with these partisan organizations, these partisan smear machines in the first place. This is good. This is called just cleaning up the FBI. I think that every Western country has these organizations, these partisan organizations. Half the time they're funded by the government. In the UK, they've got Hope Not Hate, which is just propaganda, far left propaganda outlet. Canada, you've got the Canadian anti-hate thing. What are they called? The Canadian Anti-Hate Network. That's it. Canadian Anti-Hate Network, funded by the government. All just totally partisan smear machines, which collaborate with the media and leftist politicians to just smear their enemy. Just whoever isn't them all of a sudden becomes far right and hate. So this is excellent progress for the United States. Here we've got some video I'm talking about J6, and this is all very interesting stuff. As we found out, with 280 FBI agents at J6. Did somebody call it the Fedsurrection? The Fedsurrection. Did somebody say that once? Somebody say that? I thought I heard somebody say that once. All right. And we're actually going to go into the hate map from the SPLC. We've already done videos on the ADL heat map, and we've shown you how they fake the numbers for, because you keep hearing about how it's the right is all the violence. The vast majority of violence comes from the right. Well, watch that video on the ADL and their heat map, and I'll show you exactly how they fake it. It's not even clever. It's so transparent. It would take you 3 minutes to go on there yourself and find out. The hate map, I'll show you again how they just fake everything. Apparently, no leftist has ever done anything wrong. There's no anti-government leftists or anything. It's amazing. We'll go through all of that. We're going to go to the EU, where there's just constant terror attacks. Here's a mass shooting in East France. We'll go to the UK, where it's the same thing. And they really are going to have to do something there because it's not looking good. They can't stick their heads in the sand anymore. We're going to talk about the UK, which is just a nightmare. They're trying to fix it. British patriots are trying to fix it, but will they be able to? Alberta independence. We're going to take a look at this. There's a lot of kind of regular mainstream media talking heads who just kind of scoff at the idea of Alberta independence. And I think this is foolish. I think that history goes slow, and then very fast. I think there's a serious chance that Alberta could do it. It's not going to happen tomorrow. It would take years, but with the cover, after 10 years of Trudeau, and now we don't know how many years of Carney. If Carney wins the next election, then I give it a very high probability. Let's see. We got Poilievre. Yeah, we're going to talk about Poilievre here. Poilievre is going to talk about the ostriches finally, and we do have some ostrich stuff coming up. He's blasting Mark Carney. We'll get into that. You guys know how that goes. BC ferry scandal. We'll get into that, where they're giving $1 billion to China for some reason when Canadian shipyards would have done it. I don't know. I wonder if it has anything to do with Mark Carney's ties to China. I don't know. The ostrich farm stuff. Here's the Green Party leader who hates Trump more than she loves the ostriches, it turns out. Mark Carney, ethics problems, hiding things. It's just a disaster. Mark Carney is a disaster for the country. We have Trump declaring Hamas ready for lasting peace. So maybe, I don't know. It sounds like Hamas might have pretty much run out of all their weapons and they're not getting enough. So maybe we'll take a look at that. Gender ideology. This is actually just tragic, but it's important to look. I mean, this is like looking in the abyss, right? It's so depressing, but you have to know what's actually happening, what people are actually advocating for, just how dark it really is. We've got memes. We're going to go through my favorite meme of all time. A little bit on Canadian immigration, mass immigration, idiocy, woke Canada. You guys always love the woke Canada stuff. Portland. And here's an FAFO moment. We will take a look at that. New York is screwed. There's the communist roses there for Zoran Mamdani. All right. He's just not hiding it. He's not even hiding it. It's just creepy. This is like a teaser for like a vampire movie or something. And when you think about it, commies are kind of like vampires, right? Canadian economy, just some basic stuff here, which will not take us too long. Oh, I don't know what's going on there. Let's get rid of that. What was this connected to? I can't remember. We'll figure it out. Oh, I think this was, all right. We'll get that later. Then we have the last tab of the evening, which is a bunch of random stuff. Some of it's kind of funny. Some of it's like animals and stuff, and crazy old ladies like Jane Fonda, crazy old commie ladies like Jane Fonda, who is just a stark raving mad lunatic as far as I can tell. A bunch of stuff, and we got another commie pope apparently. Is that like a requirement now? The pope has to be a commie? I don't know what's going on. We got some Bill Maher in there. We got a bunch of stuff. So, yeah, we should be at this for a while, folks. Buckle in, get some food, get your survival supplies. We could be a while. All right. I also want to take a look at some of the live stuff from Fox because there is a bunch of stuff happening. We will take a look at some of the live breaking news on there. Also, I want to say for everybody who is watching over on YouTube right now, you're watching this channel here. This is the one that has the live streams and all the Canadian stuff goes on that. We have a new channel. It's only a few weeks old. All of the stuff that's not Canada news or live streams is going to go here. YouTube is not going to help me with this, so it's going to require your help. You're going to have to help me out here. Go over here and subscribe. If you go to the channel page for this channel you're watching right now, this is the featured channel. You can subscribe to. You can press subscribe. You're wonderful. Look at all this stuff. 1984 is now in the UK. Meme reviews. Bill Maher mocking woke. Ratings collapse for Jimmy Kimmel. What? Scott Jennings wrecks CNN. Amnesia on Comey. So, yeah, all those wonderful videos and more you can catch. That's only for YouTube. Rumble, there's one channel. Don't worry about it. All right. So let's get back to the chat, shall we? All right. Let me see let me get caught up here. Mickey says, so I was getting a pedicure. Let me try that again. Mickey says, so I was getting the pedicure the other days and some noodles, and it was like a guy in a t-shirt and jeans. So different. Well, that's so interesting. I hope you enjoyed yourself. A change up. Spambot says, looks like I joined the stream just in time. How you doing, Spambot? To catch my favorite topic. That's Alberta independence, I'm betting. Denny, how you doing, Denny? I can see a civil war happening in UK and European Union. Things could absolutely get crazy there. They have introduced a level of dysfunction and division on purpose into the EU and into the UK. Like, it's pretty clear, like, it's not working out. I'll just put it like that. It's clearly not working out. Spambot says, my ex-wife took me to get a pedicure. Well, no wonder you divorced her. Spambot says, the ends of my toes hurt. Well, you don't go for pedicures. You just put your foot down, no pun intended, and say no. Rosie's got like number 5. Happy Friday to you, Rosie. Well, number 5. Well, let's see. 5 is a quintuple, so 4 is 4, 3, 2. Number 5 would, well, that would, we'll go 1.5 good karma for you. 1.5. That's still pretty good. Spambot Fodder says, I have never had short toenails before. My toe fronts are hating me now. Hating me. Well, how long are they normally? We're not talking like Howard Hughes, are we? Because mine are normally Howard Hughes length. Let's see. Brian Watson, good to see you. Let's see. Spambot's having foot problems. Let's see. Brian Watson says, did you hear about NDP meeting with Carney to prop up Liberals to pass budget? I heard something about it. I don't know what's going to happen there. I mean, they still don't have a leader, right? My like a proper leader. So my prediction for the NDP was that they're going to either, you guys know this, either going to, as their next leader, have a tree with a face painted on it or a photograph of a cloud that looks vaguely like Greta Thunberg. So we'll have to wait and see whether it's the tree with the face painted on it or the photo of the cloud that looks vaguely like Greta Thunberg. I don't know. All right. Rosie asks, Richie, what color do you choose when you get a pedicure? Well, black, obviously. Black. Like my heart. Like my heart. Let's see. Bristol Tube, good to see you back. All right. Spambot says, the poor worker broke a pair of snip shoes using on my toenails. I'm guessing we're talking Howard Hughes type toenails here. I'm guessing. All right. And Mickey's going on a cruise to Fort Lauderdale from Vancouver. Very well. Enjoy that. All right. So, I don't know, what are we doing now? I guess we're going to just go ahead and just dig right in. So, FBI Director Kesh Patel. The Southern Poverty Law Center long ago abandoned civil rights at work and turned into a partisan smear machine. Their so-called hate map has been used to defame mainstream Americans and even inspired violence. That disgraceful record makes them unfit for any FBI partnership. Well, they're just a propaganda organization. They're a partisan propaganda organization, the same as the ADL. Because Patel's also cut ties with the ADL as well. The ADL I've made videos about the ADL before. You can see them. I show them how their heat map totally fakes the numbers to make it look like the right commits more violence than the left. It's actually not true, and it's actually not even close. But they also had TPUSA listed as a hate group, the ADL. Apparently, they've taken that down now because it's insane. And because, I don't know, it makes it look like maybe they're kind of responsible. Maybe their own hate, the ADL's hate, is maybe a little bit responsible for what happened to Charlie Kirk, huh? That era is finished. The FBI formally rejects Comey's policies and any partnership with the ADL. Yes, they're not, these are not objective organizations. They're not honest. They are liars. They are partisan. They are weapons for the Democrats. That's it. All right. So I want to show you. But anyway, now it's also the Southern Poverty Law Center who have been sued for defaming people before and had to settle, by the way. I want to show you the hate map, the SPLC hate map. Roar. The SPLC interactive map has been available to track hate since 2000. So let's see, let's filter here. Let's see, anti-government general. So anti-government, most of the anti-government stuff seems to be coming from the left, doesn't it? Because, those people attacking ICE and ICE facilities, they're not right-wingers, are they? No, of course they're not right-wingers. Those are a bunch of revolutionary communists. Those are left-wingers. Let's see, what do they say about anti-government general? Anti-government groups are part of the anti-democratic hard-right movement. What, all of them? All of them? Because I don't see any right-wingers actually attacking the government at all. Right. Well, all we've seen for years now, all we've seen for years now is leftists attacking, burning things in LA, the ICE riots in LA. That wasn't a bunch of conservatives. In 2020, that wasn't a bunch of conservatives, was it? The George Floyd riots, that wasn't conservatives doing that. $2 billion worth of damage, couple of dozen people killed, hundreds of police injured, arson, looting. That wasn't conservatives. Again, the ICE riots in LA, that wasn't conservatives, and that was pretty bad. But apparently, anti-government groups are part of the anti-democratic hard right movement. But they're not. Sure, there's some anti-government right-wing groups, but they don't seem to actually be doing anything, do they? So this is how they fake it, folks. This is how they fake it. Just all anti-government stuff is right-wing. It's hard right. This is how they do it. This is how they fake it. And because they are certain that the vast majority of people won't even bother going to look at their hate map or investigating this at all, they can just get away with it. And they seem to be, for the most part, right, unfortunately. Anti-Defamation League retires glossary of extremist groups after backlash for including Charlie Kirk's TPUSA. I was showing this on this channel weeks ago, that they had TPUSA listed as a hate group with like the KKK and stuff, like as if there's even as if the KKK is even a thing in the States anymore. What is it, like 30 people? Ridiculous. But yeah, this is how they do it. This is how they fake it. This gets used as a reference. Wikipedia uses the SPLC and ADL when they smear people. Right, this is how it's done when the media smears people. These are the sources they use. ADL, Southern Poverty Law Center. This is how it's made. It's a big circle jerk. Leftist politicians. These are the references they use. It's all lies. It's all fake, but it seems real if you're not paying attention, because the politician's saying it, because the CNN is saying it, and because there's this group, this ADL, this Anti-Defamation League that's saying it, and this Southern Poverty Law Center that the media is insisting these are nonpartisan experts. So it seems real. People have busy lives. A lot of people also just want to believe what they want to believe. So they're not going to take the chance of interrogating anything just in case they see something and it raises a question. All right. So this is great progress. This is good. This is excellent. October 3rd, 2025. Kash Patel cuts all ties to the Southern Poverty Law Center. Good. That can only be a good thing. Hold on. I want to see if there's anything else in here. Nope. Okay. Hold on. I have one more with him, but I want to just check. Yeah, the FBI has officially worked with the ADL since 1968 and unofficially since 1940. I didn't realize it had been around since 1940. Oh. Let's see. All right. All right. So there we go. We have another one now. So from Wall Street Apes, they say treason. Director of the FBI, Kash Patel, confirms with facts that Nancy Pelosi involved in setting up January 6th. She made sure there were no National Guard. Okay, let's hear it from Kash.
Some Republicans, Mr. Director, argue that Nancy Pelosi staged January 6th and the Select Committee covered it up. Based on what you personally know, what are the verifiable events in the lead-ups? And do you, I know you don't speculate, you just deal with facts.
I'm in a unique position. Remember, I was Chief of Staff for the Department of Defense on January 6th. We were responsible for the deployment of the National Guard. And what I was forced to testify to years ago at great personal cost has now once again, just like Russiagate, been proven true, because all I do is speak the truth. On January, actually in the days before January 6th, we were in the Oval Office where the President Trump at the time, authorized, pursuant to law, up to 10 to 20,000 National Guard. We took that authorization because the law's second part required a request from who? Nancy Pelosi and the Metropolitan Police and the mayor at the time. And what did they say? No. And remember what happened for the next 2 years? They say, oh, Kash is lying, Trump's lying. And what did we find? Letters of their declination of the National Guard, refusing to have the National Guard show up. So all I can speak to is the facts. And the facts are those plus this. Nancy Pelosi and her team were busy filming a movie on January 6th while this so-called chaos around her was going down. If she had, just look at it this way, if she had said yes to the National Guard and we had 10,000 uniformed military officers established a secure perimeter, do you think January 6th would have gone differently?
It is intriguing that 250 FBI plainclothes agents were inside the Capitol on January 6th. I saw the president's tweet to get to the bottom of it. Who placed them there? What were they doing? Were they inciting violence? What can you tell us, Mr. Director?
This is a great example of the president's initiative to solve all the answers on January 6th. And it's another example of our transparency efforts. Pursuant to the president, we investigated the matter and found out why FBI agents were placed there in the first place. And it turns out we found documentation and witnesses and whistleblowers that said we were forced to go there to do riot control. Armstrong, do you know what the FBI does not do ever? Riot control. We don't do that. So the prior leadership sent 250 some odd men and women into a situation they're not trained for, put them in harm's way, put the individuals out there in harm's way. And also, those individuals have collectively responded or said beforehand that they were forced to go there. They didn't volunteer to do that.
And you believe them?
That's their word, not mine.
I would really like to see what else they were told, because don't you feel like maybe there's something else going on a little bit? Let's see. Pelosi refuses the National Guard. You've got now, it turns out, 200, I've heard it was as high as 270 or 280 FBI agents there, plain clothes, right? You've got you had at least one absolutely documented Antifa guy there. Nothing appears to have happened to him. You have Ray Epps, who they absolutely refused to do, even though he was one of the most notable characters there, one of the most infamous characters there, right? Who finally they ended up doing something with him and then giving him a slap on the wrist. It's all weird. What happened to the pipe bombs? It sure feels like there's probably more. Is he working on something behind the scenes that he can't say right now? I don't know. But it feels like there should be something more happening, doesn't it? Doesn't it? All right. So, something beautiful has just happened in the chat, everybody. Something very, very beautiful. Mickey has gifted a membership for Radio Baloney on Rumble here. And I mean, I'm having trouble talking right now. I'm quite moved by this. It's a very beautiful thing. I think we have to do the honors right now. Best person ever, and all for less than the cost of a brand new Tesla Cybertruck. Really, really best person ever. I'm going to be honest right now. Everybody else in the world who's ever lived, don't really care for him. Mickey is my person right now. Mickey's the one. She is number one. And you know what? Just to really drive this home, I mean, I'm just kidding. I do care for everybody else. I do. It's just that Mickey is special, right? I'm going to say this. I don't think I'm overstating it. Nature's greatest miracle. Thank you so much. See what a fuss I make when people do nice things for the channel? I really go out of my way. It's really, I want to say though, it's really the best thing anybody can do for the channel. It really is. It's an awesome thing, and I really do appreciate it. All right, let's get back to the chat. What do you guys, because you guys are always making good comments. So let's see. So where am I in the chat? So I'm at the part where Spambot's telling us about how when he had his pedicure, the tools, the knives, the scissors broke on his toenails. My chat's always a train wreck, always. So that's the way we like it here. Spambot says, and this is a very good point, Southern Poverty Law Center is a terrorist funding NGO. Well, they inspire terror, right? So they're actually they fund and inspire actual hate. They're an actual hate organization. So anybody who's one step to the right of Stalin is smeared by them. Spambot says the SPLC applies a mirror to all their data. Left is right, right is wrong. That's why they must be shut down. Shut down. And, you don't see anything on their website. Let's go back for a second. Here's their website. You won't see anything about the mobs with their genocidal chants and, death to Israel, death to the USA, death to Canada, UK, wherever they are, wherever the intifada is going on. You won't see, there's nothing about it on here. You're not going to see anything on the ADL, just not interested. Just not interested for some reason. Why is that? Why would they be so uninterested? Because they're fake, is why. Yeah, left is right, right is wrong. That's why they must be shut down. Shut down. Well, they should just be defunded. They certainly shouldn't get any public money, that's for sure. JDL makes a great point here. Hit the like button, everybody. Hit that like button right now and get your free good karma. Everybody loves the good karma. Bristol says Wikipedia needs to be torn down. Well, you know what? I think Elon Musk is talking about Grokpedia. So now Grok is a little bit woke too, but I don't know. I would hope that it would at least be better. Thing about Wikipedia is it's useful for a lot of stuff. Like if you just want to, I don't know, like even if you want to find out about like the Red Terror, right? Or, the Culture Revolution, most of the info in that is pretty good. If you want to find out about, the killing fields in Cambodia, Pol Pot, it's pretty accurate. But like basic stuff, it does okay. If you want to know what an atom is, right, it's fine. But it is baked in there, particularly with people or anybody who's not left-wing. There's obviously a ton of terrible bias. And of course, it's using sources like the ADL and the SPLC as well, talking about, hate groups, all that kind of stuff. The bias is baked in, but you can miss it because you could just look up, like, I don't know, like when was your favorite sports team founded? That'll be fine. It doesn't need any political bias. I think it does tend to, like, if you're looking at like communist atrocities, it does tend to lean towards the kind of lesser, but even then, only 2 million people died instead of 3 million people, right? If they're going for the lesser amount, it's still pretty terrible sounding. But yeah, the Wikipedia it's used by the media and there's enough bias in there. Political bias, like if you were to look up J6 or something like that, and it's used in collaboration. It's a collaboration between the media, politicians, AI as well, to always frame everything negatively if it's not Stalinism. Let's see. All right, what do we got here? JDL, how you doing? Oh, amazing faces. Good to see you. All right. And Amazing Faces got that beautiful, beautiful free membership, gifted membership from Mickey. Let's see. Radio Streamer, how you doing? Let's see. Everybody's showing up. Ottawa James, he says a great point here. The stinking commies, bro. Not fond of the commies. Not fond of them. Let's see. Mickey says, I saw a hot pink Cybertruck in Vancouver the other day. Ugh. Why would you do that? to a beautiful Cybertruck. Bristletube saying, now this is controversial, but I identify as the best person ever. Respect my pronouns of best and bester. Well, this puts us in a pickle, doesn't it? Because technically you have to do a Rumble rant, or you have to buy a membership, or you have to gift a membership. Now you could do it on YouTube, but you know what the thing is, YouTube is I can't tell on YouTube. It doesn't tell me. So I have to go look at everything in the back end afterwards. So it's a bit of a pickle. I mean, those are the rules. But then if you identify as that, I guess what you can do is take a big piece of art paper and draw best person ever on it, and then hold it up and look at it. And I guess I can't stop that. I wish that I could. But I can't stop it. Ottawa James says, Victoria is a beautiful city. I hear it's just full of drug addicts these days, and drag addicts as well. Brian Watson says, I was in a library in Waska Beach and a sign said Canadian Islamic History Month. All right. Is there a lot of Islamic history in Canada? I just don't think there's that much. But what there is quite explosive. I need the rim shot thing. Let's see. Radio Streamer says a ton of history is really, really edited on Wikipedia. It didn't used to be so bad, especially if you want to know what vulcanization is in the process that happens. That'll be fine and not political. Yeah. So I mean, I actually haven't been on it. I don't use it anymore. Wikipedia, very rarely do I use it unless there's something that I figure, well, it'll probably be okay. And then I'll make sure if it's something I already know about and I can suss out whether or not it's going to be accurate. But and then I still double check. Bristletube says, I still don't know how those noodles stay so soft. What a strange thing to say. What an odd thing to say. Let's see. Radio Streamer says, but if you want to know about the social revolution, Stephen Crowder, the Cultural Revolution, talking about Stephen Crowder showed how they removed a ton of the edits. They did not that were that were simply accurate because it showed the true brutality of it. Yeah, they tone it down a little bit. The last time I checked that out on the Cultural Revolution on Wikipedia, which is I probably going back a few years now, it still seemed really awful. But yeah, I think that it seemed like it had been toned down a little bit. But there's some things that it's really like they're just fundamentally terrible. But I'm not arguing. Yes, Wikipedia is biased. It is. It does include propaganda. Bristlетube asks, I wonder if Carney is a Fabian. Well, he spent lots of time in the UK. He went to Oxford. Probably. I mean, he's never had a bad word to say about Marx, and he has talked about it. It's I think mentioned in his book very briefly. But if you're going to bring up that name Marx in your book about economics, even if it's only one time, you should really say something bad about it. You should say, yeah, I'm not going to do this. Just put everybody's mind at rest. Let's see. All right, I'm going to skip down a little bit. Brian Watson says they're pushing Islam in Canada. Yeah, just like everywhere else. Bristletube says Justin Trudeau was mentioned on the Fabian website. They were very proud of him. Yeah, I bet. Justin Trudeau was it's just all fashion for him. It's just his socks. His politics were his socks. I mean, that's how deep they were. Ottawa James says Fabian socialist likely. Yep. JDL says universities and colleges hate Western civilization. They sure do. And they keep proving it all the time. All right, we got to move on. Let's go to the EU here. Let's see. Tommy Robinson reposted this. He says, I wonder. Let's see. So this is 6 hours ago. Mass shooting in Nice, France. At least 2 people killed and several wounded. Well, they have a lot of that happening over there. Maybe we should check it out, actually. Let's see if there's any kind of updates on that. Let's hold on. I want to rid of a couple of things first. All right. Nice, France. Let's see if anything comes up here. Let's see. Nice, France shooting. All right. Let's see. There's not much here. 4 hours ago, times now of India. Several killed in shooting in France's Nice. Well, where is the shooting in Nice? Chaos and Falls, Les Moulins neighborhood. All right, well, let's see the full story. Let's see. Eric Ciotti said, I refuse to accept that this neighborhood, like our city, should become a lawless zone. I thank the many police officers and firefighters mobilized on the spot. The French authorities have heightened security, begun an investigation to determine the motives and identify the suspects involved. Doesn't seem like there's any big updates on this. Let me try one. Let's try on X, actually. Hold on. It's usually the best place to find updates now. Let's see. France shooting. Let's take a look. Eddie posted this. This is 5 hours ago. Gunmen opened fire Friday in the Les Moulins area near Nice, France, killing 2 people, wounding 5 others. Police have launched a full investigation and are working to determine the motive and identify the assailant. Security forces remain on high alert as the probe continues. I thought guns were banned in France. Well, they have a massive problem with immigrant crime, immigrant gangs, all of that. They're filling up their prisons there. So no mention of any kind of churches or synagogues or anything. There was an incident in the UK today. Doesn't seem to be any real updates here. What time is it over in Europe right now? It's 6 a.m. So let's see. Yeah, there doesn't appear to be anything. All right, let's move on from that then. What do we have here? All right, we can move on from this. Let's keep going. What are we? 45 minutes in. Okay. So in the UK, actually, this was it was yesterday, I believe. A Middle Eastern man named Jihad. His name was Jihad. Committing a terrorist attack while on bail for rape sounds like a fictional story someone would come up with to make fun of the UK. But it's real, but it is real. Terrorist Jihad. His name is Jihad. Right? His name's Jihad. Terrorist Jihad al-Shami was on bail, when he struck UK synagogue on Yom Kippur. Here's the dad. What did he say? When Salahuddin released that, the lines were clear in the battle not to imprison the elderly men and women or children, for Muslims have the right to protect and bring them back to their family safe. Cut down a tree. We don't kill a prisoner. Don't threaten, blah, blah, blah. May Allah give you victory, your hand and guidance. Either way in battle, history will write as the beginning of the liberation of Exa, God willing. So he's a big Palestine guy. Hold on. Yeah, so here we go. Andrew Neil. Further update. Father of Manchester synagogue terrorist praised the October 7 Hamas terrorists as Allah's men on earth. Faraj al-Shami, who named his son Jihad, I believe the brother's called 9/11 al-Shami. I'm not sure, though. Posted on Facebook his support for the invasion of Israel, in which 1,200 people were killed and 250 civilians and soldiers taken hostage. So he's a trauma surgeon living in a council house in Britain, said that the Hamas terrorists who had infiltrated the Jewish state had proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that Israel would be destroyed eventually. And he raised a little jihadist that he called Jihad. So I guess that, like, none of this was a surprise to him. What does Jihad want to be when he grows up? It's just in the name. Let's see. Jihad came to the UK from Syria as a young child. He grew up just around the corner from the synagogue he attacked. So he was never going to integrate. He was never going to, get along. He's 35. He grew up around the corner from the synagogue that he attacked. He is thought to have been granted British citizenship in 2006 when he was a teenager. Let's see. Somebody wants to come over from Syria. They're bringing their child. And what is the child's name? Jihad. Excuse me? How do you spell that? Let's see. Jihad. Britain's full. That should have been the answer right there. It's not like they had no clue. I mean, he called the kid Jihad, for God's sakes. I mean, come on. It's all self-inflicted. It's all self-inflicted. Let's see. They celebrated Charlie Kirk's murder. Now they're celebrating a terror attack that killed 2 Jews outside a synagogue. Yeah, it's in every Western country, there were leftists, far leftists, as celebrating Charlie Kirk's assassination. Because they're all just the same drones from the same hive mind, ultimately. Do you understand the level of evil we're dealing with? Happening now in London. The UK turned upside down. Events today in Manchester, and now these rabid protesters. So, yeah, they don't stop for anything. The Islamic woke team up it's not a game you can win, right? It's never going to be enough. So, hold on. So the bearded Muslim man who carried out a deadly car ramming and stabbing attack at a synagogue in Manchester, England, is literally named Jihad. His name is Jihad. Nobody could have seen this coming. Syrian immigrant who was naturalized in the UK was shot dead after killing 2 and injuring 4. He wore a fake suicide belt to make police hesitate shooting him. Islamic terror attacks occur regularly in England, but opposition to it is called Islamophobic and racist by leftists. That's called suicidal empathy. And it's madness, pure madness. Let's see. From Andy No here. In 2017 in Manchester, another Muslim extremist whose family was given refugee resettlement in the UK carried out the mass slaughter of Ariana Grande fans at her music concert, a bunch of young girls. Salman Abedi killed 22 people and injured over 1,000 with his IED that was packed with nails. Yeah. And then all of the UK was encouraged to sing "Don't Look Back in Anger" with Oasis, which again kind of feels like suicidal empathy, doesn't it? Let's see. Manchester Arena inquiry. Security did not approach bomber over racism fears. This is what wokeness gets you. Chaos, dysfunction, and death. And death. Because of racism fears. Well, I mean, I think that Islamists blowing themselves up fears is obviously fairly valid in the UK. So you can fear that too. That there's nothing phobic about that. Let's see. Alex Armstrong posted, today Keir Starmer promised Jewish people he'd do everything to keep them safe. Well, that's not going to happen, is it? He's just lying. Also today, people chanting from the river to the sea and some dressed up like jihadis unleashed fear across the country and violence in London the same day a terrorist attack is aimed at Jews. That's how much Keir Starmer means any of that. No, he's a lefty. He's a radical progressive. He's a Fabian, right? He's a socialist. He's an oppressed oppressor narrative guy. People have no idea what they're advocating for. Zero idea. Yeah. Yep. Why? Why does Gaza have to be in London? Why does Gaza have to be in Montreal? Why does Gaza have to be in New York and Los Angeles? Why? Why? Anybody ever vote for that? Yeah, so this is a violent protest at the gates of number 10 Downing Street, the residence of the Prime Minister. So you can see lots of Palestinian flags there. They're not appeased by him, by recognizing a Palestinian state. It's not a game you can ever win. It will never end. It's just more. The answer to what do you want is always more. One word. That's it. Just more. Well, it wouldn't be progressive if it wasn't infinitely progressing towards, a dystopian 1984 hell state. All right, hold on. All right, so meanwhile, let's see, BBC. The BBC have been caught changing the translation. They changed Jews and jihad to Israeli forces. Well, that's the BBC. This is from Basil the Great. So let's take a look here. Like, I think the cat's kind of out of the bag now, right? For a little while, they were disciplined and they would go, oh, death to the Zionists. Also, don't forget Christian Zionists as well. That was also what they were saying. But now the activists themselves, I don't think they're really even bothering. Everybody knows what they mean at this point.
بس أكدت لنا هاي الفيديوهات إنه هو ما كانش متخبي تحت الأرض، إنه بالعكس هو بقاوم بجاهد ضد اليهود.
So this one, it's Israeli forces, but then in this one.
بس أكدت لنا هاي الفيديوهات إنه هو ما كانش متخبي تحت الأرض، إنه بالعكس هو بقاوم بجاهد ضد اليهود.
Resistance and jihad against the Jews. I wonder if the immigrant called Jihad was waging jihad. I wonder. I hope that's not phobic to say. Yeah, the jihad was on bail for rape when he struck a UK synagogue on Yom Kippur. Let's see, Climate Warrior. This is a parody account here. We should try to find common ground with the terrorists. So this is what they're fighting against. This is what sane people in the UK, and of course every Western country, including Canada and the US, this is what we're all fighting against, is these people who would just watch everything burnt to the ground around them, Western civilization burnt to the ground around them, just so that they don't get called names. Let's take a look.
Clearly, many Jews in this country are scared, and understandably so, because if members of your community are brutally murdered when they are doing nothing but going about their daily business, going on the holiest day of the year to their place of worship, that is a very frightening thing to happen. And in fact, as soon as I heard of this terror attack yesterday, I went to synagogue because although I'm not religiously Jewish, I am half Jewish. My wife, as it happens, this week was in Vienna, where she took my 8-month-old daughter to the flat where my great-great-uncle was the first, or among the very first, to be murdered by the Gestapo when the Nazis marched into Austria. So we, in our family, have very deep scars from anti-Semitism. And it doesn't matter whether the...
Yeah, okay, but those guys aren't around anymore. There's kind of a different issue now.
The anti-Semitism comes from the far right, or whether it comes from Islamist fascists.
Oh, what was that he said?
Scars from anti-Semitism. And it doesn't matter whether the anti-Semitism comes from the far right or whether it comes from Islamist fascists.
Okay, in 2025, where's it coming from? What was the name of the guy who did the car attack and killed Jews on Yom Kippur at a synagogue? Right? What was his name? Was his name Adolf? No, his name was Jihad. His name was actually Jihad. Stop bringing up the phantom far right. Okay, this far right menace doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't exist anywhere. And besides, look, this far right menace, okay, is not real. Okay, this is just a fiction of their imagination. This is a fabulation they've created for political purposes. And by the way, the National Socialists were left wing. Right? Fascism is just another leftist collectivist ideology. Okay, it's a sister ideology to communism. So his point doesn't hold anyway.
It's anti-Semitism, and it needs to be called out every single time. What I would say is that the answer to these sorts of Islamo-fascist attacks, we've seen them now against Jews in this country, but we've also seen them again indiscriminately in the past. The answer is not to turn in on ourselves. Yesterday, one of the first people to call me was one of my closest friends who's a Muslim to check in on me as I had checked in on him at a time of an Islamophobic attack.
So don't turn in on yourselves. Don't recognize reality. That's what he's saying. Don't look back in anger. Sing the song. Sing the song. Just ignore it. Just ignore it.
We have to remember that we are neighbors and that there are actually very close bonds between members of the Muslim community, religious community, and Jewish community. It is a road to nowhere if we turn in on ourselves.
Okay, but they keep killing people and killing your children as well, like Ariana Grande. And then there was the incident with the children at the dance class, the Taylor Swift dance class. So, okay, it is a real thing. You do actually have to confront it. Don't look back in anger is suicidal empathy. And don't talk about, and stop. I really am just becoming disgusted. It makes me want to throw up when they start talking about the far right. Yet the danger to the Jews across the Western world is not coming from this imaginary far right. We know where it's coming from. And its name is quite literally jihad. It's surreal when you see this. When you see these people, it's surreal. And by the way, here's from Free Domain with Stefan Molyneux. The UK needs to start being proud of its history because it's the most remarkable empire, like real empire that's ever lived. It's the most remarkable empire that's ever existed, and the most benevolent one as well. The greatest moral act of benevolence in all of human history, and whites just get attacked and blamed for everything. Enough. 1833, Britain used 40% of its national budget to buy freedom for all slaves in the empire. And we must remember that slavery was endemic everywhere around the world at that time. It was normal. Okay. The reason that it had to spend so much money, 40% of its national budget, to free the slaves is that because in the colonies, it had existed since time immemorial. It was, in fact, a respected trade for 1,000 years before any Englishmen ever set foot there, right? They didn't want to get rid of slavery. They liked it as an industry. The English, Britain actually had to pay them off to force them to stop. They didn't want to. Britain borrowed such a large sum of money for the Slavery Abolition Act that it wasn't paid off until 2015. This means that living British citizens helped pay for the ending of the slave trade with their taxes. For some reason, I never hear any professor talking about this, or any left-winger ever talking about this. Communists don't like to talk about it. I mean, in communism, just everybody's a slave, right? Except for the, the party members. Greatest moral act of benevolence in all of human history. This is something the British should be very, very proud of. And, the next time you hear somebody going on about the British Empire and how evil it was, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. All right. Let's go back to the chat for a minute. And for those watching on YouTube, I just want to remind everybody, go to the new Radio Baloney News channel. It's a few weeks old. It's going to need your help because YouTube is not going to help me out with this at all. The algorithm won't. So it's on you guys. You guys got to come and subscribe to it. Radio Baloney News. It's a featured channel on the homepage for this channel right now. You got meme reviews. 1984 is now in the UK. Bill Maher, Jimmy Kimmel ratings collapse. Scott Jennings, Rex, CNN. All these wonderful videos that you won't be able to see otherwise. If you're on Rumble, don't worry. Everything's going on the same channel, as you know. All right. You know what we should really do, though? We should really do what everybody loves. Everybody loves when we do NFL tune-in season, and I cannot stray from the script on this. I have to stay on the script. But we always have a good time, right? We always have a good time, right? Let's do it. Hey, football fanatics. Are you ready for some prime time NFL action? Tune into Westwood One for all the gridiron glory that you crave. From jaw-dropping touchdowns to game-changing plays, don't miss a moment of the excitement. Catch every snap, every tackle, and every victory on Westwood One. You can listen to the NFL on the NFL app, on the Westwood One Sports app, on WestwoodOneSports.com via Westwood One station streams, or by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports. If it's the NFL, it's on Westwood One. Did you guys have a good time? Did you guys have a good time? I had a good time. I loved reading that one. Love reading that one. Love reading it. It's a fine ad, a beautiful ad. Probably the best ad ever, actually, I will just say. Love reading it. All right. Now I'm getting a headache. Uh-oh. Hope we don't have to get this short. Maybe more. Will more caffeine fix my headache, do you think? I guess we'll find out. I love reading that ad. It's my favorite ad ever in the whole wide world. All right. Then what were we doing? And then we're going to do something. And what was it we were going to do? I don't remember. Let's see. Where's the ad reviews? Where's the ad reviews for this one? No reviews. Nobody's going to review it. I think that was a 10 out of 10. I think that was at least a 9.5 out of 10. All right. Let's see. Dame Pan, good to see ya. Did I say Dame Pan? That's not right. Dame Pam. Pam. There we go. Izzy says coffee fixes everything. But does it fix a broken heart? Does it? I think it does, actually. You just need a bit of pep when you got that broken heart. Let's see. Ottawa says, give it more Arnold. Oh, I could do an Arnold reading of it. Westwood One Sports. Now that's almost like Sly Stallone. Westwood One Sports. Is that Sly? I don't know. I could do an East Indian version of it. Westwood One Sports. I could do an Irish reading, but that would turn into East Indian. For some reason, my Irish accent turns into an East Indian accent. I don't know why. Radio Streamer says 8.5 out of 10. I just wish it could. Hold on. I just wish, where was it? I just wish it could have a little commie hate. I'm sorry. I got strict instructions. If I want to keep that $1.28, I got to read it like they tell me. Let's see. Let's see. Izzy says, no, slavery was invented by white people because they hated everyone that wasn't white. I'm sure I learned that in school. You know what the sad thing is I know you're joking, obviously, is that, yeah, people are being taught that in school or something equally idiotic. Rosie says, what does he mean by we have very close bonds between the communities? Yeah, you kind of wonder, right? What kind of close bond did jihad have? As he says, far right's anyone not agreeing with the far left. Yep, it sure is. Sure is. Let's see. Amazing Faces says, I'm shocked, not shocked, seeing all the burkas walking around in places like Costco, where I never saw them before. 2 and 3 women with one ugly ass man. I thought polygamy was illegal in China. China. It's just it is what it is a narco tyranny. So it's totally arbitrary application of the law, depending on politics, political correctness. That's what we're seeing. Of course, you wonder what happened to the feminists. Right? Do they really just believe all those women covered from head to toe with a little slit to see through, that they're all super into it? There's not one of them that's like, actually, I'm really living Handmaid's Tale. So I know that you Western feminists love watching The Handmaid's Tale and pretending that you're oppressed, right? And putting on your little outfit to protest. But I'm actually, look at me. Look at me. Some of them must be thinking this. Look at me. I am literally covered in a sheet with a little slit to look through. Can you see this? Do you imagine that I want this? That I want my sole contact with the world to be a little slit that I can see through? That's my connection to the world? And yeah, polygamy is supposed to be illegal, but political correctness, equity means that women must suffer, is what it means. Apparently, equity means just everything sucks for everybody, because it doesn't seem to actually help anybody out. It just makes everything chaotic and dysfunctional. Radio Streamer says, think about the mindset of these people raising their children as weapons and naming them after their purpose. Yeah, they're fanatics, obviously. But jihad means inner struggle. Well, yeah, inner struggle about when to blow himself up, I guess. Let's see. Bristletube says, I think Trump will have to put troops in London. Just going to have to send them everywhere now. We need them in Montreal and Toronto. JDL says, not the singer Fabian, LOL. No, not him. Talking about the socialists in the UK. Izzy says, airstrip one has fallen. Yep. Maybe they'll get back. They're fighting. I don't know what James says. Starmer invited them in. Well, you know what the really sad thing is that it was the conservatives who invited. Well, it was first Tony Blair, and who kind of redefined what the UK was supposed to be. And then successive conservative governments just betrayed their voters over and over again until their voters just said, well, there's no point in voting for them. They're making it even worse. And then Labor gets in with not really a strong mandate. I mean, they got a majority, I believe, but it was less of a vote than they lost with in the previous election. So it was, I think, 33%, which I would not consider a strong mandate. Let's see. Rosie asks, how many people of white color died in the U.S. Civil War to free non-white slaves? Not allowed to talk about that, Rosie. That's an inconvenient fact. That's a hate fact, Rosie. Watch it. Watch your hate facts. All right, a couple more chats here, then we'll get back into it again. Spambot says, script mandated ads don't have the required level of commie hatred that we need. I know. But they pay me more. I could make like $1.30 on that one instead of 24 cents. And I like doing the accent. I mean, it's nice for me to change it up. And you know what? Absence makes the heart grow fonder. That's true. So when you get those commie hate ads, it's all the sweeter. All the sweeter, my friend. Rosie says, and this is actually, I don't know if this is fair to Westwood One, who I love, by the way. Westwood One is full of control freaks, not any commie hate. We need a different impersonation. Trump, 9 out of 10. Well, 9 out of 10 is pretty good. I believe that's the most you can get out of 10, isn't it? I'm not a mathematician or a biologist. Let's see. All right, we'll have to see. Maybe we'll do a Trump one next time. Izzy's trying to cope with the lack of commie hate. I'm sorry. We'll get some commie hate going soon. Don't worry. Radio Streamer says, wait, just do a little commie hate tirade after the ad. Well, that's a good idea. But do I have one ready? I don't. Pepe Le Pew impersonation? I don't know. Although I'll tell you, we took Mr. Snacks over to my mom and dad's place, so they have a little dog there, about the same size. And the other dog, they're both males, and the other dog just started panting real hard and following Mr. Snacks around. And at first they were just chasing each other around, just a couple of dogs having a good time chasing each others around. And then the other dog, I gotta say, the other dog made it weird. Made it real weird for Mr. Snacks. There was some stuff going on that Mr. Snacks was not liking. So it turns out Mr. Snacks is straight as an arrow. Straight as an arrow. The other one, let's just say, curious. And Mr. Snacks had to keep running up onto things to get away. And the other dog made it weird. It's a lovely dog, by the way. Lovely dog. But I kept having to say, hey, look, this isn't Midnight Express in here, all right? Cool it. Bristletube says 239.4 out of 315.2. That's for the ad read, I'm taking it. I'm not a mathematician, but I think that's the most you can get out of 315.2, I think. Let's see. All right, we got to move. I got to start moving down the chat here. Dame Pam says, while one culture promotes tinsel boobs, another promotes slit eye coverings. I prefer the tinsel boobs. I did get another cooking show for the Cooking Show channel. That I think Rosie sent it in. It's not strictly a cooking show. It's like a food delivery show, but it kind of fits in the same category. Let's see. Hey, JJ, how you doing? Hello from fabulous Las Vegas. How you doing? I hear it's a little quiet there these days. Very expensive, they're telling me. The TV said. Let's see. Nevada wants more commie hate. Don't you worry, the commie hate's going to be coming. We've already had some commie hate tonight. Let's see. All right. All right, let's move on. Where are we? We've barely gotten through the tabs. We're an hour and 18 in. Lord, it's got to be another long one tonight. I keep going to the chat, but it's because you guys are fun. That's why. Alberta Prosperity Project posted this. Now, there's a lot of talking heads, political talking heads, a lot of mainstream figures who keep poo-pooing the idea of Alberta independence, and that's ridiculous, and it's super fringe, and blah, blah, blah. I don't know, I just saw a poll that had 36% support. I mean, what's the margin of error on that? I don't know. But I think there's definitely an optimism bias on those doubters' part. History goes slow, and then really fast. And Canada is a different country than it was before Justin Trudeau took over. Right? It's not just that Justin Trudeau reformed the Liberal Party into his own image and that of his ridiculous socks. He turned it into a radical, progressive, radical leftist party. But he's also done that to the entire country. So every institution now is woke. It's just been infected by the idea pathogen. Every institution, the country is full of woke judges and lawyers and everything, everywhere. The Ontario College of the Psychiatrists, right? All woke. I mean, legal societies now are woke. Just everything is woke. So Justin Trudeau really reshaped the country into something it never was before. He did it through his ideology. He did it through mass immigration. He did it through legislation. It's a different country. You can't treat it the same as you did before Justin Trudeau. You can't treat national unity the same, or you can't consider national unity in the same way that you did before Trudeau. It's a different country. There is Canada before Trudeau and Canada after Trudeau. So I absolutely think that there is a possibility of Alberta independence. Do I think it'll happen tomorrow or next year? No, it's going to take a long time. It'll take years, and it may never happen. But I do think that with this fourth election in a row of the Liberals, that's brought it closer. Give it a year. Give it 2 years of Carney. Carney, it's turning out, is even worse than Trudeau. I mean, clearly he was the man behind the curtain for the Trudeau years. Trudeau was a snowboard instructor, drama teacher. He didn't know anything about economics or running a country. Mark Carney is obviously the one who was advising him, giving him terrible advice. And we know factually that he was, because it was reported in all the newspapers. So all the terrible things that Trudeau did to our economy and in terms of debt, in terms of immigration, you can see Mark Carney's fingerprints all over it. So give him another year, 2 years. Things can change quickly. As things get bad, as things continue to get worse, as people start to get really worried about their future, about their children's futures, opinions can change really quickly. Really quickly. History goes slow, and then fast. And the people who weren't paying attention wake up one morning, and it's a different world. And everything is different. So let's take a look at this. The Alberta Prosperity Project. Alberta Prosperity Project delegation secures renewed U.S. backing for sovereignty in high-level Washington, D.C. talks. The Alberta Prosperity Project today announced the successful completion of its second strategic visit to Washington, D.C., where the Alberta Prosperity Delegation met with senior Trump administration officials to advance Alberta's path towards full independence. Now, how senior were these officials? I don't know. But the idea that there's no infrastructure around independence, this is one thing that the talking heads talk about. There's no infrastructure, there's no real movement. Well, it's happening. It's building. That is being constructed. The purpose of this trip was to follow up on our April 2025 meeting, specifically to update the U.S. administration on where APP is in the quest to update the U.S. administration on where APP is at in the quest for Alberta's sovereignty and to elaborate on substantive mutual benefit to both U.S. citizens and Alberta citizens, consequent to Alberta becoming a sovereign country. So there is hope here that the Trump administration would recognize an independent Alberta. Now, one thing you have to say is that Trump's not going to be president forever, and Alberta independence is not going to come again. It's not going to come next week, next month, next year. There will be a long legal pathway before that happens, and presidents change, and you don't even know if the next president's going to be a Republican, right? I mean, I would hope that it would be J.D. Vance, but you don't know. But even still, I mean, that's just one thing. It could still happen without support of the U.S. administration or them recognizing it. Jason Levine says, I can confirm this is true. There have been more than one meeting, and it is clear that the U.S. is preparing to support Alberta's independence if the people vote for it. This is something Quebec didn't have in 1995. Under President Bill Clinton, the White House was calling Quebec's referendum a crisis. Now in 2025, the White House thinks it is a reasonable path forward. So, Quebec, anybody? Quebec, are you sure it's ridiculous? Are you sure it's ridiculous? And by the way, it's not going to be, for Alberta, it's not going to be a national referendum. It'll be an internal Alberta vote. Let's check this out. So on the phone, Keith Wilson. Let's take a look.
The State Department.
So this is Glenn Beck on the phone with Keith Wilson.
The State Department had a meeting, a second high-level meeting in Washington, I think on Monday, and our administration is eager to recognize Alberta as an independent state or country. Can you give me any insight on what is happening on this side of the border, and what does that mean with our relationship with the nut job parts of Canada?
Well, sure I can. I received a briefing from that delegation yesterday. I think the Trump administration is very concerned about what's happening in Canada. My understanding from the meetings that have occurred that the Trump administration officials have indicated that the U.S. would recognize a vote by the people of Alberta to become independent. So that's very important to us as we expect the vote to occur 2026, sometime around this time next year. And I think the Trump administration also recognizes you guys have right above your border in Montana, the third largest reserve of oil and gas in the world. Look at the power of that, the energy independence. It takes you from an energy superpower to a mega superpower. So, and then we're completely culturally aligned. So I think there's a recognition. And the leftists in Ottawa are being global disruptors.
Keith, please stay in touch with us. Anything that we can do to help, but we I want to make sure America understands, the world that we are right on the brink of losing or changing, and how dangerous these times are if we don't all keep our level heads. And I've been watching you with great interest on what's happening. God bless you.
Keith Wilson is a constitutional lawyer in Alberta. All right. So Daniel Smith, this actually, that I think I've shown that to you guys before. All right. But actually, this is relevant still, though. Daniel Smith is the premier of Alberta. And she has not come out and said she's, for Alberta independence or a separatist. But her language is pretty strong, right? And it's there's often, I think, a really a warning in between the lines, like, you're gonna have to deal with our issues. You can't ignore them. Ottawa cannot ignore our interests, or else there's gonna be problems, right? And the elephant in the room is Alberta separation. She says Canada has become economically weak, true, and vulnerable to the whims of our largest export market, true. And Ottawa continues to dither. Parliament could do three things today that would immediately turn our economy around, create hundreds of thousands of jobs, and generate trillions in wealth for Canadians without spending a single tax dollar. Scrap oil and gas production cap, no brainer. Overhaul no new pipelines law. Just get rid of it. That would provide certainty, that would bring in investment. Eliminate tanker ban. No brainer. You just have to do it, right? You just have to do it. Canada's $1.5 trillion in the hole, right? We're already paying $1 billion a week just to service the interest on the debt. That's more than the provinces get in transfers for health care. So this is not sustainable, right? Not sustainable. There's an implicit threat with these demands, which is, there's a lot of talk about Alberta independence around here. Maybe you need to look after our interests, which are really the interests of the entire country, right? I wanted to show you one other thing here too. Hold on, where is it? Here. The four biggest oil companies in Canada, total taxes, including municipal, provincial, and federal, royalties, as well as payments to Indigenous, hit $70 billion in the last 3 years. $70 billion from just four oil companies. Why have a production cap and have no pipelines and have a no pipelines bill? Well, exactly. Canada's in serious financial trouble. The parliamentary budget officer says that the problems are serious and unsustainable. Very serious and unsustainable. Yes, something needs to. This is the easiest fix in the world. It makes perfect sense. If Canada disappeared off the map tomorrow, not a single drop less of oil would be used around the world, because you need it to run a modern civilization. End of story. Right? China is going to use it. India is going to use it. Brazil, the United States, everywhere else is still going to use it, right? Still going to use fossil fuels. They're still going to use natural gas. Canada could disappear off the map and it would not change the global climate one bit at all. There'd be no difference. Meanwhile, the country's going broke, and we're staring over the fiscal cliff. Again, according to the parliamentary budget officer. So it's all pretty simple, right? Like, you could make Alberta happy. You could make Daniel Smith happy. You could make Alberta happy. You could make the rest of Canada would be able to afford its bills and pay off its debts. It's all pretty simple. But you know what? It ain't woke. It ain't far left. It's not far left ideology. It's not wokeness. And what do we have with wokeness? What do we have with the idea pathogen, the woke mind virus? We have chaos and dysfunction. And because of the foolishness of Canadian voters, we're going to get more of that in spades. I predicted it would be worse than Trudeau, and so far, it's looking like it is. Certainly, the deficit is. All right. Let's go back to the chat for a second. And let me just remind the YouTube people, new channel, Ready to Baloney News. That's the new channel. It's only a few weeks old. Please go there. All the stuff that's not live streams and Canada news is going there from now on. Look at this. Jimmy Kimmel ratings down. You want to know about that. Bill Maher, Mock and Woke. You love that. 1984 is now in the UK. I would check that out if I was you. Important stuff. Meme reviews. Ha ha ha. You love to have a good laugh, don't you? Everybody does. Go there. Check it out. Subscribe to the channel. You know YouTube's not going to help me out. In fact, I think YouTube might be a little bit annoyed with you if you went and subscribed to Radio Baloney News. Might be a little bit annoyed. They don't really want you to know about it. You wouldn't want to piss off YouTube, would you? All right. Back to the chat for a minute. Let's see. Nevada says, does that mean ocean takers? Yep. That's what it means. Let's see. Dame Pam says, also known as Carney, some people call him Marks Carney as well, is supposed to be meeting with President Trump on Tuesday. Nothing will happen. Let's see. Oh, we lost Bristletube. Well, thanks for stopping in if you're still there. Let's see. Ottawa James says, Richie 100%. I can't remember what I was I think you were talking about, I was talking about Alberta independence, and it absolutely can happen. Dame Pam says, go Alberta. Amazing Faces says, hopefully BC goes too, because I think it actually is possible, to be honest. Let's not forget the Conservative Party of BC, even though it turns out the Conservative Party of BC is not really a Conservative Party at all. Rustad is a total phony. But people voted for a Conservative Party, what they thought was going to be conservative, and they almost won. So, again, things can change fast when people see their lives being destroyed. Dame Pam says, Westfest. Dame Pam says, it seems the Westfest movement is growing quickly. Gee, did I just invent a new term? Westfest. Yay or nay? Yay! All right. Indeed, Pam Amazing Faces says. All right, I'm going to skip down to the end, then we're going to get moving. Let's see, we're an hour and 30 in, and my headache is getting worse. Let's see. All right, let's move on. Ottawa James says, yeah, bro, I don't like Rustad. Yeah. He's a loser. He's a loser. Everybody says so. It's sad. It's very sad. Let's see. Not sending their best. How about Pierre Poilievre? So from Jinglai, hey, I think that's how you say it. Jinglai, Pierre Poilievre blasts Mark Carney for getting Canada tariffed every time he jets around the world and for failing to secure trade deals. Well, Mark Carney, his strategy seems to be nothing but chaos and dysfunction, as everything progressive is, as everything radically progressive is. So on one hand, he's tariffing USMCA or CUSMA compliant goods, but then he's untariffing them, but he's also not actually going down to the states to negotiate. The Trump administration is frustrated because it doesn't seem like the Carney administration is even serious. Meanwhile, he's talking about the EU, and somehow we're going to replace our 80% of our trade with the EU, which we do 7% of trade with. None of this makes any sense. Plus all of this net zero laid on top of everything. And somehow making our products more expensive to export is going to make them more competitive. Competitive with who? China, India, the states who aren't concerned with net zero or carbon taxes or industrial carbon taxes or net zero anything. somehow that's going to make us more competitive. None of it makes any sense. Again, everything progressive is just pure chaos and dysfunction, and that's what we're seeing. Let's hear Pierre Poilievre.
You know, it's incredible. Everywhere Mark Carney goes, we get hit with higher tariffs. You know, some people think I've criticized him for traveling. It's not his traveling, it's his results. Let's go through the background. He goes to Washington, gets wonderful, gushing media coverage. What's the result? The Americans double tariffs on Canada. He goes to Europe, twice to UK. And what do? Lock in the blockade against Canadian beef production. He meets with the Chinese premier. And what do the Chinese do? They double tariffs on our farmers and fish harvesters. It's that we would.
It's not even just that. Like, he tariffed U.S. Food products coming into Canada, like coffee. We don't make coffee. Like, we don't grow coffee beans in Canada. Why would you tariff that? It makes no sense. Again, chaos and dysfunction.
Be better off if Mark Carney would hide under a rock than we are with him traveling around the world. Everywhere he goes, we end up with higher tariffs. You know what I mean? Like, if he would lock himself in a room, we would be getting a better result on tariffs than we are right now. It has been a gigantic bait and switch. We were sold about this brilliant negotiator. Where is it? Point to me to a single win anywhere in the world.
Hold on one second. Give me 1 second. All right, sorry about that. Just had to do something. Looks like we're losing Radio Streamer. Great stream, Richie, and great chat. Wish you all well. He says, sorry, everyone. I'm tired of pure line of they, them, teapotting minivan. That's not what I still need, man. All right. Thanks for stopping in, Radio. We've been going for a while, an hour and 40 minutes. Let's see. Where were we? So we would be better off if Mark Carney would hide under a rock than we are with him jetting around the world. I do feel as if he just did nothing, we'd be better off, because he seems to be just breaking everything, right? And we've seen this massive increase in the deficit, which of course turns into national debt, which turns into increased interest payments that we just can't afford, which means inflation, which everything is just geared up to actually drive productive investment in the country out. And we're going to end up with nothing but a bunch of green boondoggles, carbon capture, which can't exist without funneling Canadians' money and printing money to pay for it. And as soon as that money disappears, because Canada just can't afford it anymore, we can't borrow money anymore, it all disappears. So, yeah, we'd kind of be better off with Carney just doing nothing, just go on vacation. We used to say this about Trudeau all the time. Just stop, just go back to Jamaica and just stay there and hang out. You love it there. Just don't come back. We'll deal with it while you're gone, right? Until the next election. All right. Next. So here he is talking about the ostrich situation in BC, the ostrich farm. I've not really known what to think about the ostriches. You know, it looks like just simply authoritarianism, just a government that's just made a decision, and it doesn't matter if it's a good decision or a bad decision. It's just they've made the decision, and now it just has to be lived by because they must be obeyed. I kind of wonder if there's not some trap in here. There's something we don't know, and it's a trap has been set for him. I don't know. But here he is addressing the issue.
Kyle Duggan from the Canadian Press. There is an ostrich farm out in BC that's facing a potential cull of its ostriches. Its supporters are looking to see if you support or oppose this. Have you taken any kind of position on this, or are you willing to speak to this matter in the House, as some of your MPs have?
Well, just yesterday I did speak on it, pointing out that this is just another example of total Liberal incompetence. They've mismanaged this from the very beginning. And now they've left Canadians confused, farmers baffled by the total incompetence by the Canadian Food Inspection Agency. Another disastrous Liberal mishandling of an issue that has left us with the problem we have today.
Kyle Duggan from the Canadian Press.
Well, I think that's a good answer to it. I know a lot of people are livid at him and the Conservative Party for not making this like the center of the Conservative Party. My feelings are that it looks like government overreach. It looks like just another thing from a left-wing progressive government that makes no sense. I don't know everything about it. I'm not sure that everybody does. I have this sneaking suspicion there's something lurking in the back that makes this a bit of a trap. But at the end of the day, what is going to save Canada? Like, Pierre Poilievre, if he becomes prime minister, is going to open up the energy industry in Canada. He is going to do everything that he can to build pipelines, right? To utilize the resources, to create funds to pay for Canada's terrible, unbelievable debt that was racked up by the drama teacher and is now being racked up by the bureaucrat, by the globalist, technocrat central banker Mark Carney, who did the exact same thing in England, by the way, just that the mainstream media in Canada, for some reason, wasn't interested in going beyond the credentials to what he actually did. We know why, and I was saying why during the election, because it wasn't good. That's why. But, the issues that are facing Canada are generational at this point. The debt is not going to be brought down to a reasonable level in 4 years. These are generational issues now. The immigration problems are not going to be solved in 4 years. These are assimilation is not going to be solved in 4 years. These are generational issues now. Healthcare, it's not going to be solved in 4 years. These are major problems, major generational problems that Canada has now. And I don't want to see the whole thing derailed because here's one issue, which frankly is kind of a fringe issue. I don't want to see the whole thing derailed, right? I believe that Pierre Poilievre is the man to do the things that are necessary on each front. And if he betrays us, if he betrays me, well, at that point, then you've got to talk about, another party in Canada, something like reform in the UK. But the issues are so big that I don't like seeing this obsession over, like, it can't be that every fringe issue now becomes the most important thing in the world. No, you know what's really important? We owe $1.5 trillion. The deficit's going up to $64 billion. Right? Nothing is happening in terms of energy production for Canada. Like, these are the important things. The country is being flooded still with mass immigration, temporary foreign workers. Like, these things are still happening. These are the big issues, right? And I don't think that we should get derailed on a lot of stuff that is frankly novelty stuff. I'm not saying that it's not, that people are wrong to care. I'm not saying that at all, but I think we need to have perspective is all I'm saying, and look at the larger picture. Because Canada, let me put it this way. If the parliamentary budget officer is correct, and we are looking over the precipice right now, and what's happening is unsustainable, the ostrich farm is the least of our concerns. And I'm not sure I want Pierre Poilievre focused on that. Now that's going to make me very unpopular, and I probably, when I clip this, I'll probably lose some subscribers. But I'm trying to be pragmatic here. All right. Let me see if anybody's furious with me in the chat. Let's see. What are you guys saying? All right. Amazing Face says PP won't deal about the ostriches. Well, again, I don't think people are wrong to be concerned about that. I want there to be perspective on this. Like one thing I don't want is for Pierre to like lose the leadership convention, right? Lose the leadership of the Conservative Party over ostriches, and then get another Aaron O'Toole, who's going to be, Trudeau light or Carney light, right? I think that the problems are too massive right now. Rosie says, what does Poilievre mean? Carney had great media coverage during U.S. visit. I missed that part. Well, I think for Canadian media, they just swoon over anything that he does. Let's see. Amazing Faces says they won't test the birds. Well, that's another issue too, right? And well, actually, we've got Elizabeth May talking about that, who's just a nut bar. But no, they could, if they were to retest the birds, that would be something. Like that would be something where that would do something to calm the situation. Nevada says, too bad ostriches can't fly. They'd be all right then. Rosie says, how is it that no one, well, maybe Juan has forced Carney to reveal his financials? Well, he did reveal them. It turns out there's a lot. 500 American companies that he's invested in, only 3 Canadian, weirdly, huh? Let's not forget, before he became PM, he moved the headquarters of Brookfield from Canada to New York. New York. There's some more stuff about his financials. We're going to be getting to that tonight. Let's see. Rosie says, yeah, the ostriches cannot fly, and they also have no 2A rights. Damn it, those poor things. Let's see. Dame Pam says he seems to be very protected for sure, talking about Carney there. And Rosie says, Carney seems protected. His next step may be to herald the renaming to China-da. China-da. Wouldn't be surprised. Nevada makes a great point here. Now, as long-time viewers and listeners know, JJ Nevada is absolutely determined to conquer Greenland one day, himself personally, and be the leader of Greenland. I rather see myself as kind of emperor of Greenland, but, we'll get to that. We'll cross that road when we come to it. He says, in Greenland, we will burn anything and everything to make as much money, as much energy as possible. I was going to do the same thing. I make this vow to the people of Greenland as their emperor that I will burn anything and everything, including puffins, to make as much energy as possible. Rosie says, we need nuclear in Greenland, JJ. Well, Rosie's going to go. Are you going to be the minister of energy, Rosie? I can't remember. Amazing Faces says, non-elected officials should not have the totalitarian powers to ruin a family's farm and murder healthy animals. Yeah, I can't disagree with that, right? Obviously. I just wonder if there's something, I have the suspicion there's something that's being held back, and the whole thing might be kind of a trap. I don't know. Then again, nothing is too insane for the modern progressive. So let's see. All right, I'm going to skip down the chat because we got to keep moving here. We're almost 2 hours in. All right. All right. Let's actually, you know what, you guys? I need to take a break for a minute. Yeah, I need to take a break. It's 2 hours in. I had a lot of caffeine. You know what that means. All right, I want to put on some music, and I'll be back for 2 minutes. I'll be gone for 2 minutes. All right. Thank you for your patience, everybody. So this is a great time to suggest that, not even suggest, demand. Anybody who's not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel right now. Become a channel member. It's the best thing you can possibly do for everybody. I mean, if you want to save the world, like the stream. Like the stream. Get your free good karma. Like the stream. In these troubled times, can you afford to turn your back on free good karma? I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. That's just tempting fate. All right, what are you guys saying? All right, you guys are just talking about the delivery lady. All right, I guess we could move on. Did we have anything else from... All right, there's that ostrich thing, and no, we already covered that. Let's move on. Some more Canadian news. So, just Canada is so insane. So there's a the BC government has given a contract to China to build new ferries. And it turns out that there are shipyards in Canada that were ready and willing to build the next generation of ferries in BC, but for some reason they decided to have them built in China. And the money for this, the $1 billion for this, that's coming from the federal government. That's coming from Carney. From Carney. So, I mean, I can't imagine why Carney would want a Chinese company to do it instead of a Canadian company, instead of having them built in Canada. I can't imagine why he'd want to do that. Doesn't make any sense at all, does it? Instead, the Liberals and NDP sent taxpayer money to a state-owned shipyard in China. We need to start building things in Canada again. We need to put Canadian workers first. So, Mark Carney said that he said that Mark Carney said we can give ourselves more than anyone else could give us, while we give everything away to China, I guess. He forgot to add that last part on, but it's clearly what's happening here. A leaked report shows BC ferry ships could have been built right here in BC. That means thousands of paychecks and over $1 billion into our economy. Instead, the NDP sent the work to a Chinese state shipyard in collaboration with the federal government. Hardworking people in this province are tired of watching good jobs shipped overseas. It's time to build our ferries in BC for BC. But Carney wants it to be done over in China, and so does Eby for some reason. It's an insane decision, especially right now, with Canada in the appalling economic shape that it's in. It's crazy. No sane politician would look at this and think, yeah, that'll fly. That'll fly with the voters. What's the motivation exactly? I know that Mark Carney's very close with China, so there is that. Rob Shaw, local shipyards could have built some BC ferry ships rather than China, says leaked report. A leaked report. You can see why Eby, that's the premier of BC, shut down the BC legislature for 4 months. What else do we have in here? Yeah, let's look at this. So, from Dan Albus, this report is a bombshell. Will he cancel the $1 billion Fed loan to build these ferries in China? It's almost like Carney owes China something, like they helped him win the election or something, or he's got massive financial ties to them or something.
Federal politicians are demanding answers today into how China got the deal to build BC Ferry's new vessels after a leaked report that we first told you about last night showed there was a plan to build the ships locally that governments ignored. For more, let's bring in Rob Shaw at the BC Legislature. Rob, you first outlined this story for us last night based on that leaked report. What has the reaction been today?
Well, Stacey, outrage from the opposition parties, but also the organized labor sector today to learn that C-SPAN, the province's largest shipyard, had a proposal to phase in construction of those new BC Ferries. Ships would have generated $1 billion for the economy and 10,000 jobs. It gave the plan to government 2 years ago, and nobody did anything about it.
I think there needs to be a corruption investigation. Follow the money. This decision is incomprehensible. It seems actually insane. So let's follow the money. What exactly happened here? Who is benefiting from this? And is there somebody benefiting it? And is there anybody benefiting, like, I don't know, Eby or Carney or something, benefiting in ways that haven't been revealed?
Conservatives, federally and provincially today, demanding answers both on how the BC government failed to force ferries to put a premium on local jobs and economic benefit in the tendering process, like the report recommended, and why Ottawa is still offering $1 billion taxpayer-backed low-interest loan to do business with China rather than using that to create a maritime shipbuilding sector here. In both cases, critics say the government should have followed the proposal in the report to phase in construction of ships 2 to 4 in BC and full construction for another 4 ships after that.
These vessels can be done in part in another country and finished here, or they could all be done here. So this is where Mark Carney and David Eby need to actually sit down and have a serious discussion about shipbuilding in this country and whether or not they're going to live up to their rhetoric, because we have a whole generation of shipbuilders that could benefit from this and the employment that it would offer in British Columbia or throughout the country. We know that we can do this. We had 2 shipyards, both Davie as well as Seaspan, express interest in this. But when the moment they saw the RFP from BC Ferries, they knew the fix was in.
David Eby and this government looked British Columbians in the eyes and completely lied to them, said there was no way. There was a way. They just needed the political will, and they failed British Columbians at a time where we need jobs.
The BC government, which got this for...
We need a corruption investigation. Again, follow the money. This doesn't make any sense. It would have been more expensive. You know what? Canadians would have been okay with paying more to keep the jobs here instead of sending them to China. China, who, they put out their giant aircraft carrier and it immediately broke as soon as it hit the water, right? So I'm not overly confident with the Chinese ferries, for one thing. But even just politically, this is insane. What could have possibly convinced them to go this route? I say we need a corruption investigation immediately. Dan Albus posted this. In other words, the Liberal staffers knew the minister was telling a lie all along. Why let your minister lie? Quote, as Transport Minister Freeland was in the House of Commons distancing Ottawa from BC Ferries' plan to buy 4 new ships from a Chinese state-owned shipyard, senior Liberal advisors were debating how to manage a looming announcement that there was, in fact, a connection. Canada Infrastructure Bank, a federal crown corporation, had provided $1 billion in financing for the purchase. That's from a story from the Globe and Mail. Chaos and dysfunction. Everything that progressivism, that radical leftism touches turns into chaos and dysfunction. Every single thing. And that's what we have in Canada. We have a radical left progressive government. And there's also a radical left progressive provincial government in British Columbia as well. So you put those two together, I guess 2 plus 2 really does equal 5. All right. Let's get to those ostriches. Let's get to those ostriches. So here's Elizabeth May. Green Party leader Elizabeth May says she is less willing to help the ostrich farm in BC because MAGA Americans care about the issue. Well, it's also it's also Canadian conservatives care too. It's kind of been taken by Canadian conservatives, right? Because the Liberal government can do no wrong for, leftists in Canada. So it's really only conservatives who can be concerned about it. Here's Elizabeth May. She seems relatively sober here. Leader of the Green Party. Green Party and Green Party leaders are renowned for their common sense. She's revealing here what's really important to her. Because this should have been a no-brainer for a Green Party leader. Let's listen.
Who write me want that ostrich cull not to happen, and they want to, and I want to know. I'm not saying whether it should or shouldn't happen, but why not get the evidence? Why not? And this is our position as a party. Why not redo the testing and verify the health of that flock of ostriches before engaging in what many see as animal cruelty? And I can't imagine, this is absolutely astonishing to me, that an animal welfare issue in Canada has garnered the attention of MAGA-type billionaires in the United States, which makes me sympathize with the ostriches less. But that doesn't matter. What matters is we get our facts first.
Well, then why say it? If it doesn't matter, why say it? Why say it? Right? She's showing who she really is there, right? It's all just partisanship. It's all just mind virus. It's all just idea pathogen. It's all just woke zombie. It's all it really comes down to. Ottawa James says, Lizzie May drinks, bro. She drinks. She does. She likes to have a bottle or two of Chardonnay, I think. Dame Pam says, I met her when she was a reporter. Boy, I had no idea she was this woke. Yes. Yeah, she's a nut bar, actually. She's totally parasitized by the mind virus at this point. And actually just appears to be just actually a really terrible person, I got to be honest. Which the mind virus turns anybody who falls prey to it. It turns anybody who falls prey to it into just a bad, amoral person, actually, because the mind virus is guiding them now. And whatever the mind virus wants is what they want. Even if it's the opposite of what they would have said 2 seconds ago before she found out, for instance, that mega billionaires are worried about the ostriches. I mean, what an idiotic thing to say. But again, it's Elizabeth May. Brain party. What do you expect? So, from Mr. Sunshine Baby, Conservative MP brings up the ostrich situation and exposes the true motives of the Liberals behind their plans to cull the 400 birds. Well, let's take a look.
This Liberal government has failed to do its job by letting the Canadian Food Inspection Agency order the slaughter of a herd of ostriches with no transparency or communication to farmers or Canadians. Since the beginning, and apparently unlike the CFIA, I've actually met with the farmers and raised their concerns publicly. These farmers love their animals. Senior academics are begging for access to potential research on diseases. Canadians are traveling from all over across the country in outrage. This communication fiasco has been allowed to escalate into a crisis, and now tens of thousands of Canadians have raised their voices on the issue, wanting to know why. This communication, why isn't the Liberal Agriculture Minister forcing the CFIA to properly retest these 400 ostriches? Good. Why would the Liberal Health Minister want to throw away valuable potential medical research? The nation is watching and Canadians demand answers.
Thank you, Scott.
Why won't you explain yourselves?
Thank you, Scott. There's some W's in the chat for.
So, and the thing about Elizabeth May here, before she completely discredits herself, is that she's saying they should retest them again, which is sensible, right? That is maybe the only sensible thing she's ever said. But of course, she has to ruin it. The mind virus had to ruin it for her. Let's see. So what's going on here? So Mark Carney. So it turns out he wouldn't reveal all of his investments during the campaign because obviously it makes him look really bad. Because there's a lot. And it's all American companies too, by the way. It's 3 out of hundreds. There's 3 Canadian companies, which shows you the confidence he actually has in Canada, especially under his rule. Breaking ethics investigation reveals Mark Carney is hiding his investments that may result in future bonus pay worth tens of millions. Carney refuses to disclose the assets in the fund he set up with Brookfield. Secret investments, secret profits. Well, the whole blind trust thing is a complete joke. It's being run by it's being run by his liberal friends. Let's take a look.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Conacher, Mr. Carney's ethics disclosure states that he is entitled to carried interest payments, aka future bonus pay, in respect of the performance of Brookfield's global transition funds, in which he co-led efforts to raise billions of dollars of capital for. But what is missing from Mr. Carney's disclosure are the holdings in this fund of the companies that this fund is invested in. Would you agree that this is a significant and material omission from the standpoint of knowing the extent of Mr. Carney's conflicts of interest?
Yes, and unfortunately, though, the disclosure rules allow for secret investments, essentially. The details are not provided.
It's a material omission. Would you?
Secret investments. Wow. Yeah, I think ethics has a long way to go when it comes to the Canadian government, especially the liberal the Liberal Party and the Prime Minister, for God's sakes.
Because Mr. Carney handpicked the holdings in the companies that the fund is invested in, and therefore the companies his future performance pay worth potentially tens of millions of dollars is tied to, correct?
Yes, so when you have these kind of general funds, which again, it's legal to invest in some of them and keep it secret, some types of mutual funds, the details of what you're actually invested in is known to you, but not disclosed to the public.
So Mr. Carney therefore knows which public policy decisions will impact these holdings, which in turn impacts the future performance of the fund, which in turn affects the value of his future bonus pay. Meanwhile, Canadians are left in the dark. So Mr. Carney, as it pertains to his future bonus pay, is hiding his conflicts of interest from Canadians, isn't he?
Yes, again, that's legal to do. And what's even worse, because of another, the biggest loophole in the Act, he is allowed to participate in decisions 99% of the time that affect his investments.
So there goes the blind trust. Able to participate 99% of the time. And by the way, for the economic genius, his ESG fund that he set up with Brookfield is not it's not outperforming everybody else. It's I did check this out actually, and it certainly underperforms non-ESG funds. So there we go. Yeah, Canada really is a joke at this point. It's a laughingstock, a global laughingstock. So Mark Carney can just be as corrupt as he likes and enrich himself as much as he wants. And it's perfectly legal in Canada. Nothing anybody can do about it. There are so many things that need to be done and need to be changed and improved once we get a real government in Canada. You don't even know where to start. I guess we have to start with energy, but maybe the whole corruption thing should be at the top of the list as well. Let's see. Here's from August 27th, 2015. Justin Trudeau says Liberals planned 3 years of deficits to push infrastructure. Liberal leader says budget won't be balanced until 2019-2020. Wow. Yet that didn't happen. Let's see. We did have a doubling of the national debt, though. Carney to run deeper. This is from, this is this year. Carney to run deeper deficits to fund infrastructure tax cut plans. Carney's plan would push the government shortfall to $62.3 billion this fiscal year, which is more than it would have been under Trudeau. Trudeau's plan was $42 billion. Yep. This is what Canadians voted for. So here he is talking about why he didn't tell Canadians that he wasn't really doing his elbows up thing. You know, the thing that gullible, low information Canadian voters voted for. Let's take a look. And this was posted by CBC Watcher. Why didn't you communicate to Canadians that you were fully dropping non-sectoral retaliatory tariffs? Retaliatory tariffs? Let's see.
Ask their questions.
Catherine.
Sorry, my apologies.
I think Prime Minister Catherine Cullen, host of CBC's The House. We may be in London, but I've got a question about the United States, sir. It's
That's fine.
unescapable. Yeah. Why didn't you communicate to Canadians that you were fully dropping non-sectoral retaliatory tariffs? So not just CUSMA compliant goods, but non-CUSMA compliant goods. Also, if you have any thoughts about how Donald Trump's latest threats for tariffs on furniture and pharmaceuticals are likely to affect Canada.
I mean, the first question is a rounding error. The CUSMA compliant, no, come on. The CUSMA compliant is, for example, for Canada, it's more than 97% is CUSMA compliant. It's effectively the same thing. It's just more straightforward. We did it that way.
But it's kind of not, though, because that's why she's asking the question. It's not kind of the same thing. And if it's a rounding error, why do it in the first place? We wonder.
Classes of goods. There are classes of goods where we did keep retaliatory tariffs on related to 232 tariffs, for example, on steel. and aspects of autos. We are one of very few countries that still have retaliatory tariffs on with the U.S. because in those areas we are engaged in negotiations. First point. With respect,
Yeah, I'm glad he cleared it all up there. I'm glad he made it all crystal clear there with his word salad.
To the announcements, form of announcements in the last 24 hours. As you know, but just to make clear, we haven't seen any of the detail of those announcements. There's no executive order. There's no formality yet around those announcements. So I hesitate to be too conclusive about what I say. I would note on pharmaceuticals that the vast majority, what the announcement suggested, the Truth Social post suggested, was with respect to patented pharmaceuticals. The vast majority of Canadian pharmaceutical exports to the United States.
Okay, I can't listen anymore, or else I'm going to go into a coma. I know you are, but what am I? Do you think it's getting to him? Do you think it's starting to get to him? The pressure is starting to get to him. It's not fun anymore. It's not fun. It was all so easy. He just parachuted in, and the media celebrated him and coronated him immediately. He could just lie and lie and lie about everything, about his investments, about having moved the Brookfield headquarters to New York, and just tell lies about Pierre Poilievre, and there was nothing. Nobody said divisive tone about Mark Carney. He could just say anything that he wanted. And it was fun. It was great for him. All of a sudden, it's not so fun anymore, it feels like. He's not having such a good time. It feels like it's getting to him. The pressure is getting to him. Nothing's working. He tries his little juvenile tricks of, splitting the budget into two different parts so that he can pretend that he's balancing the budget when he's actually running a huge deficit. Nobody is fooled. Didn't work. His ridiculous, childish ploy didn't work. Everything is chaos and dysfunction. Nothing is happening. He's completely if he has a strategy to deal with Trump, nobody knows what it is exactly. It seems to be just half measures, and every half measure is the worst half measure you could come up with. And nothing is happening. His net zero global banking alliance voted to shut down. That's him. That was his baby. Right? Europe doesn't seem to be quite so keen on the net zero thing, and neither does anybody else. So he's accomplishing nothing, and it's not working. His plans, the media manipulation isn't working as well, and the polls are starting to show it as well. So maybe he'll just have a nervous breakdown at some point on camera. That would be funny. That would almost be worth it. What a video that would be. Let's see. All right. Let's move on. So Trump declares Hamas ready for lasting peace, demands Israel halt Gaza bombing to free hostages. So it looks like Mark Carney jumped the gun a little bit, and those European leaders jumped the gun a little bit, recognizing a Palestinian state, didn't they? Trump was cooking this up the whole time, obviously. Will this actually pan out? Don't know. History would teach us that probably not, but it looks like there is the most progress there's been seen in a long time. Let's see. Quote, based on the statement just issued by Hamas, I believe they are ready for a lasting peace. Israel must immediately stop the bombing of Gaza so that we can get the hostages out safely and quickly. Right now, it's far too dangerous to do that. We are already in discussions on details to be worked out. This is not about Gaza alone. This is about long-sought peace in the Middle East. So, you don't want to get too optimistic on it because, again, history would teach us that there's going to be endless problems. Hold on. I thought I had something else on it. I don't. But you know what? That's okay. We got to keep moving anyway. Let's see. Gender ideology. This is one of those things that's, the progressive abyss, and you almost hesitate to look into it because it's always just so tragic and so unnecessary. And just to pursue ideological fervor, and it doesn't matter who gets in the way, even if it's children. At the start of the pandemic, Transhausen mother affirmed her 12-year-old son's delusions that he was a girl. She had him chemically castrated and disrupted his puberty. She changed his legal name to Melody. He was affirmed by family, peers, and even the mayor of Long Beach. So why did he still try to kill himself on April 14th, 2025, at age 17, resulting in a severe traumatic brain injury? Why didn't the trans rights prevent this outcome? Could all this affirmation have caused irreversible damage? Did the underlying issue get missed? Now Mom is using him for content and to solicit donations online. This is barbarity. This is happening now. It's hard to believe it's happening now. It feels like some dark alternate universe, some universe where morality is wrong, is fundamentally wrong. How could this happen? How could adults let this happen to children? How could health professionals allow this to happen to children? For what? For an infinite series of abstractions, right? There's no test you can take to decide if a 5-year-old is born in the wrong body, to prove. There's no test you devise. There's no blood test, where you can decide, oh yes, this 5-year-old is definitely born somehow in the wrong body, even though that doesn't make any sense on the most fundamental level. This is all for the sake of ideological abstractions. Just non-falsifiable claims. Just the assertions of lunatics. Party after legally changing her name. My daughter's life will be a new look to how it once was, a preview of her old... I can't even read this stuff. Struggling with her mental health, the mother says. Really?
Never thought I'd be here again, spoon feeding.
Jesus, I can't watch. This is actually happening in the real world right now. And people see this as virtuous. There are people that have been so infected by an idea pathogen that they see this lunacy as virtue, as doing the right thing. How can that be how can this be real? Any sane person asks himself, how can this be real? How can adults allow this to happen? How can adults do this to children for the sake of some infinite series of abstractions, none of which is more to reality in the slightest? Gender affirming care, they say. You know what's gender affirming? Is helping a young person to live in the only body they're ever going to be in, as what they really are. Everything for the left is just a series of insane euphemisms used to justify horrors. Because what is this if not a horror visited upon this child? It shocks the conscience beyond belief, and I still struggle to understand how it's possible. I could understand one crazy person, but whole medical associations, endocrine society, hospitals, politicians, some large percentage of the population, clearly this is insane. You don't need to be a health professional to say, you know what, instead of permanently medicalizing a child right? Because they've made an assertion that they're born in the wrong body, that they have gender dysphoria. Instead of doing that, maybe help them feel comfortable in their body as they actually are in reality, not as some made up magical being. Everything is the opposite of reality. Affirming is the furthest thing from what this is. This is the furthest thing from affirming. This is the actual conversion therapy. It should be obvious to anyone. They say that if they don't do it, they'll try and kill themselves. So why did he still try to kill himself? Don't care. They don't care. That's the really sad and horrifying thing. They don't care. The mother doesn't care, apparently. Nope. Born in the wrong body. I don't know. There are some horrors that we see in this modern world that you wonder how could the Aztecs have sacrificed, cut out people's beating hearts, sacrifice hundreds of people at a time and thrown their heartless corpses down the steps of the temple. How could they do things like that? How could people live amongst such horrors and just be okay with it? Well, we're learning why the Aztecs were fine with it, right? We're learning how they dealt with it. They just told themselves a story that wasn't true. And that's what these people are doing. And they're using it to justify actual horrors. Anyway, sorry to get serious with you guys there, but the stuff, it's insanity. And I still I struggle to believe that it's real. Yet it is, and we know it is. All right, let's get to the chat. All right. Nevada says, Carney, gotta go. He sure does, but he's not going to. Let's I think Carney is learning that it's a lot harder to deal with running a I mean, if you are utterly shameless like Trudeau, like essentially a psychopath like Trudeau, nothing just bothers him because he's got no conscience, and Trudeau was, younger, and he was a naturally talented politician because he was so slippery and without conscience or without morals. Carney is the same. He's just older, and I think he doesn't have the same energy. Dame Pam asks, isn't Carney such a great public speaker? I guess so. Nevada says, listening to him is worse than watching paint dry. Yep. Dame Pam says, regarding net zero, how about Gaza Greta's? It was all about, with Greta, it was all about Marxism. It's anti-capitalism the whole time. She revealed that. And every one of these issues, if you want to look at the Westerners, like the progressives, the Antifa, they just glom onto whatever. So it could be Gaza, it could be trans, it could be whatever, right? It's always about anti-capitalism. Always. That's the thread that holds it all together. And that's what Greta revealed eventually. And so she'll just, it's all just a part of the same commie shit, commie solidarity. How about Gaza Greta's flotilla tossing coal phones and lithium batteries into the ocean? Such a green environmental move. I didn't see that, and I find it hilarious if she was doing that. Let's see. Nevada says, next story, please. Ottawa James says, Richie, you on a roll, bruh. Well, if we're talking about the gender theory stuff, there is going to be hell to pay for that eventually. There has to be. It's just a blight on the conscience of the world. Nevada says there's a special place in hell for these commies. Yep. Dame Pam says such adults appear to want total control over their offspring forever. Well, it's not even coming from a caring place is the thing, because I don't believe that parent never had any kind of second thoughts or that her conscience didn't warn her in any way. I think that she was getting something out of it. Munchausen by proxy. Trudeau Survivor says, if genitals don't define gender, then cutting off genitals doesn't affirm gender. Well, exactly. So they want, it's the double think of the left. It's the double think of the left, right? So gender is a social construct, but a 5-year-old is definitely born in the wrong body. It's just the part of the endless incoherence and contradictions of wokeness. It's doublethink. I mean, George Orwell predicted all of this, and there was doublethink in leftism. There's been doublethink in leftism forever. I mean, he got doublethink from Stalinism, right? Nevada says, I need some noodles. I wish I had a noodle song. That would be good. Let's find some noodles. There we go. It's so meditative, right? It makes me feel better. There's a catharsis here in the noodle making. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says, healthcare is about making body parts function properly, not about playing Frankenstein. Yeah, like it beggars belief that there are people who believe that taking children and trying to artificially turn them into a facsimile of something they can never be is a cure for anything. That is preferable over just counseling to make a young person who does not know what it's like to grow into an adult body, right? Does not know what it's like to inhabit a healthy, mature body, right? Obviously, you don't need to be a health expert to say, yes, clearly counseling that child into feeling comfortable in the only body they're ever going to have has to be better than permanently medicalizing them, mutilating them, to turn them into a facsimile of something that they can never actually be. This is not rocket science. Any sane person can make that determination. All right, let's move on. Something less depressing than that. Something way less depressing than that. Where were we? All right, we did the Trump. Yeah, we did Trump. Okay, we're not doing any more of that. Let's do some memes. How about that? So who posted this? Mr. Dr. B. So, okay. Hold on. So I saw this one. Sherry posted this. It says, show me on this doll where Trump's meme hurt you. It says right here in my mangina. Now, I like this. I like this a lot. But this is a copy of my favorite one of all time. I don't know if this is the first time this has been used, but it was the first time I saw it, and it was Trudeau. And it was, show us where the fringe minority hurt you, Justin. And he points and he says, right there in my mangina. This is my favorite of all time. Nothing can ever beat this. It perfectly captures the spirit of Justin Trudeau. Everything that he is and that he will ever be. And so this is the king. And I have to say, I think that the other one is a pale shadow of this one, I have to say. But in the spirit of mocking Justin Trudeau, we've got some more Trudeau ones here. I mean, he's gone, but he's not forgotten. So we can still have a bit more fun at his expense, only because of how absolutely horrific he is as a human being. Let's see. John's Memes posted this one. Let's see. Yes, we can land on the sun. We just have to go at night. Nobody accused him of being bright. You know, he was a teacher, but he was a drama teacher. So, and also, you know, snowboard instructor. So let's see. What's this one? Let's see. Canada. There's Canada. It's a house on fire. There's Justin Trudeau smiling. He knew he was wrecking the country, and he kept doing it anyway. And he kept lying about what a good job he was doing, even though everybody knew he was doing a terrible job, that he had set the country on fire. So this one's appropriate. What else do we got? Let's see. Hey, look, a big old pile of saving the planet. This is from Sassy Gal. Big old pile of saving the planet. Look at all of that saving the planet there. Look at that. All made in China, too. Probably using energy from coal plants. So, yeah. What do we have? What's going on here? All right, just curious. How many countries tax the shit out of their citizens so they can send money to Canada? Well, let me think off the top of my head. Zero countries do that. It makes you wonder why we're sending money to Vietnam for gender just rice or for gender fill in the blank in Sri Lanka. All things which I think personally are absolutely none of Canada's business to start with. We just should not be doing it, and we certainly shouldn't be trying to colonize Sri Lanka or the Hindu Kush or wherever with crazy left-wing Western ideas. It's just going to wreck their countries even more than they're wrecked right now. And I thought colonialism was bad. What do we got here? Under your new Liberal government, Canada's economy is set to explode. Set to explode. Well, I knew that's what he meant the whole time. I knew. Not enough Canadians knew, though, for some reason. They just wouldn't listen. I am Canadian, and I want an election. I think the unfortunate thing is, right now, an election wouldn't help us because it's not been made clear enough to enough Canadians that Mark Carney is, in fact, a malevolent force in Canadian politics. And Mark Carney is actually Turbo Trudeau. Mark Carney is Turbo Trudeau. He is going to do all the things that Trudeau did to ruin the country, but more. But I don't think enough Canadians have found the line yet. I think they're going to take a bit more convincing. I think their lives are going to have to get worse before they realize what a big mistake they made. People don't like admitting they made mistakes. Let's face it. What's this one? Trump didn't destroy Canada. We did. They did it together. Don't forget, this guy was this guy's advisor since at least 2020. Hey, Canada. Canada, stop electing morons. They're very dumb. Your leaders are very dumb. They're stupid. You're not sending your best, Canada. Not sending your best. Yeah, it's true. Let's see. Was there anything else that... all right, that's it. That's the memes. That's the memes. Like, give me 1 second, you guys. All right, let's get back to it. So, more on how dysfunctional Canada is. As many as 47,000 foreign students may now be in Canada illegally. So, I think it's way, way, way more than that. So, one thing that we've learned in Canada since the Liberal takeover 10 years ago is that whatever the bad news is, it's always way worse. And we'll find out later that it's way worse. I mean, there's millions of people are supposed to be in Canada temporarily right now. I'm telling you right now, there's more than 47,000 foreign students may now be in Canada illegally. I can guarantee it. 47,000 people who entered Canada as students are potentially non-compliant, meaning they are not attending classes as required by the terms of their visa, an official said. Yeah, they're criminals. They're in criminal gangs, and they came here falsely. That's what's happening. We know that. We know that the government wasn't even doing criminal checks anymore. They couldn't. There was too many people. You bring in millions of people all at once. Didn't have the bureaucracy to deal with it. No, whatever they say, it's a lot worse. This was written by Tristan Hopper, if you want to read that article. How about this? The Buck You Will says this is not effing sustainable. So here we go. Net migration per 1,000 residents, 2023. So Canada's right at the top in the world, right? So net migration per 1,000 residents, and that was 2023. It doesn't seem to have gotten any better, actually. Even if it's gotten a little bit better, it wouldn't matter because it would still be the worst in the world. So this is not a great thing to be number one in the world at. It's really last in the world when you really think about it. This is not helping our country. So bringing in the most people per capita in the world for multiple years, geez, I wonder if that might stress everything in the country. All of the infrastructure, the healthcare, policing, just everything. Apparently nobody had any interest in Canada. Nobody in the Liberal government had any interest in asking, let's see, well, okay, before we bring in all of these millions of people and turn, a third of the country into foreign born, like how many nurses per thousand? How many hospital beds per thousand do we have? How many police? Like, can we actually deal with this? Like, how many actual places are there for people to live? Nobody did any of that for some reason. Although I'm certain that somebody actually did, that somebody was dealing with those logistics, and it was ignored because it didn't matter. The goal was to get in as many people as possible, heedlessly and recklessly, for the goals of the Liberal Party and for the goals of globalism. Not for the goals of Canadians. All right, let's hold on one sec. Where were we there? Hold on. Canada immigration. Was there anything else I wanted to get to in here? We're 2 hours and 45 minutes. Let's see. All right, so that's everything there. What do we got here? Well, Canada. So I just wanted to read you this from Table Salt. It's now crystal clear. Justin Trudeau destroyed Canada forever. In an alternate timeline where Trudeau wasn't elected the second or third time, Canada is an American trade ally. That there was no truckers' convoy, no mass immigration, no deficit spending, and no housing shortage. Yeah, I think that's pretty plausible. Without Justin Trudeau, he reshaped the Liberal Party in his own image and that of his ridiculous socks. And he also reshaped the country in his own image and all of the institutions as well. One man. And the sad thing is that we had multiple chances to get rid of him. Multiple chances. And we were just too stupid. I wasn't. The people who voted for him were. Let's see. So yeah, here's the new Canada. Here's the new Canada. After terrorist sympathizers shut down the intersection in front of Calgary City Hall, one man has had enough and gets into it with the Palestine First loyalists by trying to physically remove them. Do you know, I liked Canada a lot better before Gaza was here, before it was Gaza. You know what? Gaza has absolutely nothing to do with Calgary. Why should it? Calgary was way better before all of this, wasn't it? Well, that's the correct attitude towards them. But look at this. Like, look at this commie here. Like, these are the men that will burn down their own civilization, burn down their own birthright, burn it down for what? Because they're losers, right? They're losers. They're jealous. They're resentful, or they just think that they're cool. They think it's cool. They think it's fashionable. They have no idea what they're supporting, what they're doing, what the end result of all of this it really is. It's really disgraceful. Ezra Levant says deport. Deport. Well, that's simple. There they are setting off smoke bombs and taking over I don't know. This didn't used to be Canada. I preferred it when this wasn't Canada. I gotta be honest with you. Here's Portland. So here's an Antifa finding out. Hold on. Here's an Antifa finding out. Damn it. Hold on. Yeah, he found out. One more time. So this guy was attacking this guy. He was kicking him. He was being aggressive. The guy defended himself. He has a Charlie Kirk True Patriot t-shirt on. This guy here.
I think y'all should come get your.
So that's Portland. And all this stuff is allowed to happen because the police don't do anything. The police are with Antifa. They're with the communists. I think probably what happens in these insane blue places is that the good police leave. And the police that are left are far leftists. So they like Antifa. They like chaos and dysfunction. Reminder, this is Portland as well. The Antifa thug that punched journalist Katie Deviscourt in the face was not arrested by Portland PD, but journalist Nick Sortor was arrested by Portland PD. We have a major problem in Portland. Yes, he was attacked and surrounded by Antifas. She was obviously attacked by them. But look, in the Soviet Union, they had police. In China, they had police. They have police right now. Police right now. In North Korea, they have police, right? So in Portland, it's run by literal communists, and it's a communist police force, right? The far leftists, the revolutionary communists are protected, and I guess what they would call the class enemies are not. Let's see now. Harmeet Dillon, who is the AAG, just posted, she posted this 14 hours ago. She posted, Portland, it's find out time. Buckle up. Buckle up. So Nick Sortor posted this, and he was attacked and then arrested by the Portland Police Department because he's not a communist. Attorney General Pam Bondi has ordered a full investigation led by Assistant AG Harmeet Dillon of the Portland Police Bureau. Following my wrongful arrest last night, Bondi confirmed to me. She personally called me to deliver this news, and I'm incredibly grateful to her for doing so. The Trump DOJ will not allow Portland police to continue to do the bidding of Antifa. It's an Antifa city now. They run the city, right? It's run by communists. It's a communist city. The police are a part of that now. Communist countries have police forces, and they do the bidding of the communists who run them, right? This is what happens. Nick Sortor. Breaking. President Trump has ordered Pete Hegseth to deploy active duty troops to liberate war-ravaged Portland following the city's targeted, politically motivated arrest of May. Finally, they've been attacking like ICE it just never stopped. Like 2020, the George Floyd riots never stopped there. They besieged a federal building for months. It's never ended. They just kept going. It's a commie city now, run by commies.
To reopen the government. On another matter, despite the Democrat shutdown, President Trump's efforts to make America safe again continue. President Trump believes that American cities should be the safest places on earth, and he is committed to making this a reality. We've already seen that President Trump successfully made D.C. safe again in only a few weeks. That same crime crackdown will continue to happen in cities across the country and is happening in Portland, Oregon. President Trump will end the radical left's reign of terror in Portland once and for all. The president has directed Secretary Hegseth to provide all necessary troops to protect war-ravaged Portland and any ICE facilities under siege from attack by Antifa and other left-wing domestic terrorists. What's been allowed to happen in Portland, and we saw disturbing video footage of this last night, this is not peaceful protesting. This is left-wing anarchy that has been destroying this great American city for years, leaving police officers battered, citizens terrorized, and business properties damaged. Since early June alone, Antifa terrorists have laid siege to the ICE field office in South Portland. These radical left-wing lunatics have violently breached the ICE facility by using a stop sign as a battering ram, hurled explosives and other projectiles at law enforcement, repeatedly assault and dox officers, berate their law-abiding neighbors, and have even rolled out a guillotine in front of the ICE facility. And more people should be reporting on that. President Trump has sent federal law enforcement to protect federal assets and arrest those fueling this violence. Just last night, we saw an extremely troubling incident where conservative journalist Nick Sortor was captured on video being taken into custody by the Portland police after he was ambushed by Antifa and was defending himself from these assaults. But instead of arresting these violent mob members night after night after night, who are ravaging this community, the police arrested a journalist who was there trying to document the chaos, and everyone in this room should be extremely concerned about that. The Department of Justice...
Yeah, it's a commie city now, and the police protect Antifa, and Antifa doesn't worry. Antifa's not scared because they know they have the support of everybody. The governor, the mayor, the police. For them, they think it's just a communist revolutionary video game. It looks like things are about to start getting serious for them, though, as they're beginning to find out. Let me show you something. Nick Sortor, an Antifa militant who dumped red paint on the ICE facility here in Portland last night, was just arrested after he returned tonight. And Bill Melugin caught him visibly shaking like a little girl while in custody. These thugs are much weaker than they pretend to be. There he is, not doing well. See, he had been protected by the state of Oregon, by the government, by the mayor of Portland, by the police. All of a sudden it got real, and he was not dealing with it well. All of a sudden it's not a video game anymore. How's this guy going to do in prison? Not well at all. Now, that's not all of them. I mean, as we know, there are some of them that are actually stone-blooded killers, just real psychopaths. But a lot of them, it's this, they're this guy, right? Not ready for reality. Let's see. from Bill Malugin here, just spoke on the phone with Nick Sortor after he was released from custody. He tells me he's been charged with disorderly conduct. I asked what happened. He says he was getting video of protesters getting maced by federal agents, which was embarrassing video for them as they were crying, etc. He says they then surrounded him, pushed him down into a flower bed, and then someone threw a punch. Nick says he swung back and missed, then disengaged and walked over to a group of Portland PD. He says he was then shocked to be arrested by them, and he sat in the back of the police cruiser while officers figured out what to charge him with. I asked him about the female protester who was also arrested with him. He said he talked to her in the jail and she didn't seem like she was the one who assaulted him. So they're trying to figure out what to charge him with. They arrested him. He was shocked to be arrested with them. But look, Soviet Union had police, right? Secret police. They come knock on your door in the middle of the night, right? Just because they're police. I think probably you got a place like Portland, and it's so frustrating for a good cop that they just leave. All the good ones go. And the ones who are fine with what's happening there or like it, stay. And then you end up with this. All right. Here's Nick Sortor talking about the arrest. Okay, let's take a look.
What's your message to Portland police and the city leaders of Portland after your arrest?
Look, this is going to backfire on them tremendously. It already is. Okay, people knew that something out here stunk and that it was corrupt and that the police they take the side of the violent criminals that are here every single day, assaulting ICE officers, assaulting journalists. And then a reporter comes and, tries to embed deep within the chaos that's going in out here, and he's the one that gets arrested. They just proved the point that all of us have been saying. It's no longer a conspiracy theory.
What's your message to Portland police and the city leaders of Portland after your arrest?
Look, this is going to backfire on them tremendously. It already is.
All right. This can happen. It's a captured city. Just like Los Angeles is, just like it looks like New York is, right? New York's going to go commie with their next mayor, like full-on commie. There he is there, and he did. Okay, so let's move on from that. Here's Zoran Bob Donnie. So Dave Rubin says, no, this isn't AI. It's just the most obviously fraudulent wolf in sheep's clothing who was about to destroy the once greatest city in the world. There's Zoran, the communist. They're not subtle about it. There's the communist roses there. He knows exactly what he's doing.
You deserve better. You deserve to be able to raise your family here, to be safe, to travel where you need to, free of costs and worry. You deserve someone who works as hard as you do, who thinks about you every second of the day.
Who thinks about you every second of the... For one thing, this is like a trailer for a vampire movie, right? But just every word of this is so creepy.
That's the kind of mayor I promise to be. New York, will you accept this rose?
Paid for by Zoran for NYC.
Don't accept the communist rose. It's a trick. It's a trick. What a weird, creepy video. Just, hey, I'll give you everything for free and nothing can go wrong. That's his platform. It's amazing people could be stupid enough to fall for it, but looks like he's going to win. And that'll be New York will be transformed into something else, and it will never regain its former glory, I don't think. So much money is going to flee New York because of him. What are these guys saying? So these are Zoran. These are people on, let's see. Daniel Goulden, a member of New York City Democratic Socialists of America Steering Committee. So these are people that are for Zoran. They want him to be the mayor so he can enforce all of this communist lunacy on them and destroy their city and make everybody poor.
Zoran is literally attempting to do what conservatives say, we want to do, which is provide gender-affirming care to anyone who wants it for free, and we're going to ship people, we're going to fly people in and pay for their hotel rooms, and we're going to do all of the Fox News stuff. We're getting.
Yeah, they're gonna for free fly people in to do gender surgeries on them. And of course, what he's talking about there is children, obviously, right? Because that's their obsession.
Ideas from Fox News. I want to know, can we do that? But most importantly is we collaborated with the Zoran Mamdani campaign on his trans rights platform.
I always say, look at them, look at that big slab of an arm there, and all of is it that they all just feel they just simply don't have the willpower to go on a diet, so they want communism because then they won't have any choice? Is that what it comes down to? Maybe it's just subconscious. Maybe they don't even realize that. I don't know. But they're all idiots. They're all idiots, every single one of them. All right. And let's not forget, I mean, we have to go through a couple of his greatest hits here. Hold on. What's he saying here? Yes, so from Tomasello quotes, he wants to get rid of private property. So that sounds like a really commie thing for a guy who CNN says isn't really a commie.
My platform is that every single person should have housing. And I think faced with these two options, the system has hundreds of thousands of people unhoused, right? For what? And if there was any system that could guarantee each person housing, whether you call it the abolition of private property or you call it, just a statewide housing guarantee, it is preferable.
Because, it always works. That's the thing. Communism always works every single time, except for every single time it makes things worse, weirdly, even though to a child it sounds so good. But the children are wrong. They're wrong. It isn't good. Let's see. There was one more of his greatest hits here I wanted to get to. Where was it? I think it's way down here because there's so much of him being a commie. I have to find the right one. Hold on. Oh. Where is it? Hold on. It's worth it. Not that one. That one was bad too, but here we go. So here he is saying the totally not absolutely 1000% commie thing, that the end goal is seizing the means of production.
Right? Or whether it's the end goal of seizing the means of production.
With a big smile, because that's always worked out great, except every single time. Good luck, New York. Good luck. What do we have here? Canadian economy. Was there anything else under here I wanted to get to? All right. Now we already dealt with that. Was there? Yeah, we already dealt with that. What was in here? Oh, there was a woke mind virus thing. We're not going to get to it tonight, though. The last tab of the evening. So let's get to, before we get there, if you're watching on YouTube, please go to Radio Baloney News. It's my new channel. It's a few weeks old. There's 64 videos on there already. YouTube algorithm is not going to help you find it. On the channel you're watching right now on the homepage, the featured channel is Radio Baloney News. The new channel, the channel you're watching right now, will be live streams and Canadian news. This new one, Radio Baloney News, is going to be for all this wonderful stuff. Look, 1984 is now in the UK. Terrible what Starmer's doing. Meme reviews. Bill Maher mocks woke. That's great. Ratings collapse for Jimmy Kimmel. 64%. That's bad. Find out all about it. Scott Jennings wrecks CNN again. He's always doing that, and it's always worth a watch. So subscribe to this new channel and help me out. And it makes a purple-haired gremlin that works at YouTube cry every time somebody subscribes. A new person subscribes to this channel. So go ahead and do that now. All right. And everybody else watching wherever you are, just subscribe already, for God's sakes. And like the stream, and get your free good karma. Come on, people. What are you waiting for? Trudeau Survivor makes a great point. Those flabby arms are gross, and they can't take care of their own health, but feel entitled to offer unsolicited health advice. You're talking about the Zoran Mamdani commies. I think that's a great point, Trudeau Survivor. A wonderful point. I forgot to do another ad read, so I don't know what we're going to do. I guess we're going to do a crypto.com. Let's see. Let's be clear. Cryptocurrency is no longer emerging. It's here. And this latest move cements that reality in the biggest way yet. Trump Media Group just inked a massive $6.4 billion deal with Crypto.com, the world's top crypto platform. They're teaming up to scoop up $6.4 billion in CRO, the powerhouse token that fuels fast, low-fee DeFi staking rewards, and real-world perks like cashback on your spends to launch America's first CRO treasury. When it's done, this new company will be the biggest CRO holder out there. Want in on the action? Head to crypto.com. That's crypto.com today and grab some CRO. Let's make crypto great again. Now, I know what you're all thinking. No communist hate in that, but I had to stick straight to the script. And you know what? It was such a beautiful script. I didn't want to deviate from it anyway. Beautiful, perfect script. Everybody agrees. Everybody says so. As he says, talking about New York with a Zoran, free housing by denying private property. Sounds like commie gobbledygook. You know, that reminds me of something.
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
Sure does. And you know what he can do with that, right? You know what he can do with that? Can anybody guess what he can do with that?
You can stuff it up your ass for nothing and fuck off while you're doing it.
Couldn't agree more. Could not agree more. Let's see. What else you guys talking about? Spambot says, then Manitoba and New York swap. Well, I got to go back here. Hold on. What was happening here? I got to go back to the beginning of this. Trudeau Survivor said, I thought part of Oregon wants to separate and become part of a neighboring state. Yes, eastern, like rural Oregon wants to separate and become part of Idaho, I believe. And Nevada says, throw in Minnesota too. Trudeau Survivor says they plan to secede from their state and merge with neighboring Idaho as being endorsed by 13 Oregon counties. They should be able to, I think, because I mean, like it's like two different countries, but it's the same state. Spambot says Saskatchewan and Minnesota swap. So Canada gets Minnesota and the U.S. gets Saskatchewan. Would they take that? I think I don't know. I think it's actually a good trade. Not for Canada. Not for Canada. Spambot says then Manitoba and New York swap. Huh. Can we just swap like all of the Canadian provinces? And see, the thing is with the states is that they wouldn't want, Canada would have to be like a protectorate or something, because why would they want to just bring in a new California? Right? It wouldn't make any sense. Alberta would be fine. Saskatchewan would be fine. But the whole country, I mean, Quebec, I mean, nah, they don't need that. They don't need those kinds of problems. Trudeau Survivor says the Zoran commercial gives organ harvesting vibes. Nevada says there's even talk about moving Wall Street to Texas. I don't doubt that for a second. Dame Pam says, will some other country nuke New York? Who knows what could happen? Nevada says, probably not. They'll be laughing too hard to hit the button. Probably. Let's see. Dame Pam says, Wall Street is the major financial center, which may have a few that don't like that. That being communism. It will be interesting to see what happens to New York in the end. It'll destroy it. Like, he'll drive money out. It will cease to be the financial center, probably. Let's see. Dame Pam says, Mr. Baloney, with all due respect, glitter boobs don't exactly excite me, LOL. Well, we'll change it up. Hold on. Here we go. The Sandwich Show. This is not a bug of the show. It's a feature. It's just the way we do it here. My apologies. Get some alpha male on there. You know what? I do have something for the ladies. I do. You guys don't ask for it, though. You never ask for it, so I never bring it up. But you ask and you will receive. Let's see. Okay. It's way down the list of bookmarks because it hasn't been asked for so long. But I got something for you guys. I think of the ladies. Where is it? Where is it? It's way down the list. Way, way down. It's past women's sports. Let's see. So many bookmarks. Let's see. It's down past the ostrich farm. Where is it? Where is for the ladies bookmark? I'm looking. It's way, way down. There it is. Okay. Feast your eyes, ladies. That's some prime alpha male for you right there, Rambo. You asked for it, I delivered. Let's see. We're fair here. We're not a misogynistic channel. Let's see. Rosie says, need a call me hate intro, great growls and enthusiasm, 9 out of 10. That's the most you can get out of 10, I'm pretty sure. Sounds 10 out of 10. Would be 11 out of 10 if we had everything woke bite. That was another one where they told me I had to stick to the script again. So I had to do it. But, again, absence makes the heart grow fonder. Rosie says, Zoran Rose is creepy. Super creepy. I don't know what James says. Richie or a hoot. Well, thank you very much, sir. You guys are making me laugh, too. Izzy says, there's a movie, Escape from New York, as I recall. That was a good one. Let's see. Nevada says, Barry Manilow. What? Izzy says, good choice. I get excited about Rambo. Let's see. Chuck Norris as well. We've also got Chuck for you. It doesn't get any more alpha male than Chuck Norris. Let's see. Hold on one second. I want to check something out. Just feast your eyes on Chuck there for a minute. Let's see. Spambot, there was something I missed earlier. I wanted to find it again. And it was from Spambot. Says, why hasn't PETA said anything about the ostriches? Which is such a good point, right? It's because everything's political now. They're not actually about the thing that they're about. So even stuff like PETA, right, is no longer about animals anymore. It's about the mind virus. Once an institution is infected with the idea pathogen by the mind virus, it seeks to be about what it was originally for. Now it's about the mind virus, right? So if the ostriches appear to have become a conservative issue, well, then it's no longer worthy. Now it's bad, right? So the ostriches have to die now. So if you're a good lefty, the ostriches have to die now. Even if all their instincts are telling them, well, maybe they shouldn't kill them. No, but, it's like Elizabeth May, right? She said it's those mega billionaires, right? It makes her not like the ostriches now because it's really, that's the derangement is the most important thing now. Being mentally deranged is the most important thing to them. And to Elizabeth May, and she tells us that. She's honest about it. Let's see. We're not playing more chocolate. No, Rosie, no. JJ Nevada says, Chuck is badass. Rosie says, boobs have sustained the world since the beginning of time, literally. And that's why we honor them on this channel, Rosie. Excellent point. Let's see. Izzy says, PETA would kill the ostriches. Yes, they would. Because they're mega ostriches now. That's the way they see it, I think. Rosie asked, do you think that Chuck Norris went to the feminist rally and came home with a sandwich and all of his shirts ironed? 100%. Nevada says, PETA kills the most. And Izzy says, they believe in saving pets by killing them. That's interesting. Ottawa says, bruh, do you think Big Mike will run in 2028? LOL. No, I think that she hates the United States so much that she has no interest. Let's see. All right. Let's get back to it. Let's get back to this last tab. So what do we got here? This one I'm going to save for the premium stream. There's some stuff I have to say for the premium stream from you guys. This one I want to save for the premium stream too, because it's got music. Look at this. Look at this little dog. Here's a palate cleanser. At first, I thought he was trying to take a dump in that crock. But no, he's just curling up to go to sleep. Aww. Isn't that the most precious thing you've ever seen? Sure is. Oh, well. I only say I thought he was going to take a dump on it because Mr. Snacks actually, right in front of me, took a dump on one of my shoes. So that's the only reason I say that. Why he did, I don't know. I don't know. He thought it was a great idea, though. I can't deal with this insane old harpy, old commie harpy, this crone, this communist crone. I can't deal with her. You know, I watched that movie Weapons. Have you guys seen that movie Weapons? I watched it last night. This was my birthday week, by the way, everybody. Just so you know, this was my birthday week. And I watched that movie, a birthday movie, Dirty Jane, Nevada says, I know. I watched that movie. We watched the movie Weapons last night. Anybody seen Weapons? Tell me if you've seen Weapons in the chat. Now, I thought that it was very good. But you know what? My expectations were high because I'd heard it was really, really good. And I didn't think it was really, really good. But I thought it was good. But now, if you haven't seen Weapons, you don't want any kind of spoiler alerts, you know, any kind of, you don't want it spoiled. I'm going to tell you right now, it's a movie that came out, kind of like a thriller or horror movie, Spambot. And it's good. It's better by far than like 99% of the movies that come out now. I mean, I kind of just actually stopped watching new movies, because they're all so terrible. But this one was actually pretty good. It was well done. But I'm warning you guys right now, if you don't want to know, close your ears for a second. But there's a witch in that movie. And she reminds me of the witch, because she just has the same kind of weird, kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? The same kind of malign peppiness when she talks about all of her awful thoughts as this witch in the movie. If you watch the movie, you'll see what I'm talking about. Let's save this one for the either for Sunday or for the premium stream. What is with the popes now? Are all the popes just commies now automatically? Like, what's going on with this one? The Blessing of the Waters by Pope Leo the 14th at today's Raising Hope for Climate Justice International Conference at Castle Gandolfo, Castle Castel Gandolfo. They should just call it the Commie Climate Conference. So the blessing of the waters. Like what? So does every pope just have to be a commie now? Like what's going on?
I would now like to invite you to stand for the blessing of the waters.
So he's blessing a chunk of ice? What the fuck? What is this? Is this what Catholicism has come to? Like they probably it was sculpted into to look like Karl Marx, and then now it's just melted and that's all that's left. What the hell is this? What the hell is this? I can't help but think Catholics must be very disappointed. Very disappointed in the Catholic Church. What the hell is this? This is some weird commie climate ritual. This is like paganism. What the hell happened? How is this allowed? This is crazy. The blessing of the waters. I don't know. It just seems kind of like, I don't know. This is what the fall of Western civilization looks like. The Pope doing some weird pagan ritual to a block of ice. He probably prays to Karl Marx. Let's check this out. Fred posted this, and here we have Richard Harambe with the most brutal reply I've ever seen. Sound on for your viewing pleasure. So here's Al Franken, who is he still around? Al Franken? Is J.D. Vance a liar or just woefully ignorant when claiming that Democrats want to give health benefits to undocumented immigrants? Whoa, Al Franken really burned him there, didn't he? He really burned J.D. Vance there. I mean, there's no comeback to that. There can't possibly be any comeback to that, except for this.
A lot of you have been talking tonight about these government health care plans that you've proposed in one form or another. This is a show of hands question, and hold them up for a moment so people can see. Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants. Okay, let me start with you, Mayor Buttigieg. Why?
So what did Al Franken say? Woefully ignorant when claiming that Democrats want to give health benefits to undocumented immigrants. So is Al Franken an actual idiot? Has he paid zero attention to his own party? Or is he just lying? Is he just lying? Or is this just reflexive? So just a Republican said it, so it must be wrong. What is it exactly? It's insane that he would write this, right? I mean, it's not as if there isn't mountains of evidence that yes, indeed, Democrats want to and do give benefits to illegal immigrants. I mean, kind of just the easiest win possible, isn't it? It's the easiest dunk of all time. All right. Bill Maher, we'll save that for Sunday, I think. Let's see. JW, Englishman. That your dog? Welshman. Aye, Englishman. Mind if I speak to him? Welshman. Dog don't talk. Englishman. Hey, dog, how's it going? Dog, doing all right. Welshman, look of shock. Welshman has a look of shock. Englishman, is this your owner? Pointing at the Welshman. Dog says, yep. Englishman, how's he treating you? Dog says, very good. He walks me twice a day, feeds me great food, and takes me to the park once a week to play. Welshman, look of total disbelief. Englishman, mind if I talk to your horse? Welshman says, horse don't talk. Englishman says, hey, horse, how's it going? Horse says, cool. Welshman's extreme look of shock. Englishman says, is this your owner? Pointing to the Welshman. Horse says, yep. Englishman says, how's he treating you? The horse says, pretty good, thanks for asking, but he rides me, brushes me down often, and keeps me in a nice stable to protect me from the weather. Welshman has a total look of amazement. Englishman says, mind if I talk to your sheep? Welshman, that sheep's a fucking liar. Oh, that's a good one. I thought you'd enjoy that. Maybe that's a good one to end off the show with, actually. I don't know. All right. Well, that's it. I think we're done. 3 hours and 26 minutes. I've got kind of a headache. Should we end it? Let's put on something else for the ladies, huh? There. Arthur Fonzarelli, who asked for alpha males. Doesn't get any more alpha than the Fonz. There we go. It's a change of pace. Normally, it's just boobs. But again, we are not sexist. This is a feminist channel. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says, Jesus turned water into wine. The Pope turned ice into water. Well, maybe he turned ice into communism. That's a good one. That's a good one. Trudeau Survivor says that chunk of ice now has a legal case for sexual assault. As he says, crazy moment in history. It sure is. Trudeau Survivor says climate change is a religion. It is. It's fitting that it merges with the Catholic Church. Yep. Nevada says seems like Pope is trying to appease everyone. Well, except for non-communists, I guess. Spambot asks, is it in theaters? No, it's on VOD now. Yeah, it'll probably be like on the streaming services soon, but it's not in theaters anymore. It did well in the theaters. It's good, Spam. It's good, but it was really built up in my mind. Like, everybody said it was great. It's not great. It's just compared to most movies that you watch now, it's very good, I guess, is the difference. But the point is that Jane Fonda's a witch. That was my point. Thank you for the birthday well wishes, everybody. Appreciated. Very appreciated. Let's see. Ottawa James says, cuckoo commies. Cuckoo commies. Thanks for the birthday wishes. Hanoi Jane. Let's see. Spambot says, I had a teacup terrier as a teenager. He slept in my shirt pocket. That's adorable. That is too precious. Too precious. It's too precious for Spambot. I refuse to believe it. Let's see. Rosie says, funny how we all know who Big Mike is, and we refer to her as she. Well, yeah. Word gets around. All right. Well, I guess that's it. I think I'm I think that I'm caught up with the chat. And for those watching on YouTube right now, one last time, I have to do this because YouTube isn't going to help me out. New channel, Radio Baloney News. You're watching the regular Radio Baloney with 13,000 subscribers right now. This is only going to be for live streams and Canadian news. All of the stuff like meme review, UK stuff, 1984 is now, Bill Maher, ratings collapse for Jimmy Kimmel, blah, blah, Scott Jennings. All the world news, UK news, American news, woke mind virus, meme reviews, all that stuff is going to be on Radio Baloney News. It is. Just started it up a few weeks ago. 64 videos already. There's tons of great stuff on there. Please subscribe. YouTube won't help me. I'm relying on you guys. And you, of course, get good karma when you do it. So I wouldn't turn my back on that. And then you take the choice away from the gatekeepers who don't want you to watch it. And I've said before, every time somebody subscribes to the new Radio Baloney channel, Radio Baloney News, a purple-haired gremlin cries. So if that's not enough for you, I don't know what. All right. The Sandwich Show. All right. I want to thank everybody for coming in. Subscribe to the channel, like the stream. It's still time to do it. But I want to thank everybody for coming in. The chat is awesome. You guys made me laugh a lot tonight, actually, and made some very good points, actually. And what else am I thinking? I've got a headache. Yeah, no, you guys were great. You guys were in good form tonight. If you guys weren't here, I wouldn't bother doing this because it would be super lame. But if you guys keep showing up, I will do it too, because I won't just be ranting to a cold and indifferent universe. So everybody have a great weekend. We'll see everybody Sunday, 6 o'clock Pacific, 9 o'clock Eastern. And yeah, everybody have a great weekend. Thanks a lot, everybody, for showing up, and we'll see you next time. Good night, everyone.